Hey guys, this is Narwa Hunter, and you're listening to the Third Fleet Podcast, and this is episode 30. And boy, do we have a special episode for you today. From 3 different time zones from around the world, we have myself, Rurikhan, and today's special guest, who I'm very excited to talk to, I'm a big fan of, which is the creative, musical, comedic, and all-around nice hunter guy, Herny.
Thank you so
Special
much.
guest Herny, how you doing, man?
I'm good. That was such a nice intro. Thank you very much. I'm doing pretty good. Chilling. Hunting, the usual.
Welcome to the show, Herny. It's very nice to have you. I've seen some of the stuff that you've done on YouTube. I've also seen that you do tend to do a lot of musical stuff. Like, how did you get started, like, getting into music and stuff?
Oh, for sure. Well, I've been playing music since I was a kid. My mom put me in my piano lessons when I was 4.
Wow.
So I wasn't a fan of it as a kid, but in time it became less of like a thing that I was put in and more of like my own thing, which I think is a cool step for like any child growing up. So I've been playing music and now it's my job. I teach music. But I always wanted to incorporate music into my channel, which is a gaming channel. So I was like, damn, like, well, how could I do this? And once I started to run into like music, like copyright strikes and stuff as it goes with YouTube, I was like, okay, well, I think a really simple way is to just make my own background music. So that's what I started doing. So like if I was going to do like a video talking about like a set or a monster, just like throw together some tunes, boom, slapped it in the background. And I figured that's like a really just not subtle but really obvious way to be like, hey, I play music too. And there you go.
I am
So what instruments do you play? I'm curious.
I play piano. So I went to like piano school and then I taught myself guitar. Once you know piano, like any other instrument is, I don't want to say easy, but once you like know the theory, it gets a lot simpler.
The fundamentals
But
are there,
piano
yeah.
and guitar.
I am so incredibly jelly
And hunting
because I'm
horn.
always... Exactly, it's a good one.
The true instrument.
But it's like I'm always struggling sometimes to find like background tracks because sometimes I'm talking about games that the official soundtrack isn't out yet. It's such a pain. It'd be so
Right,
much
right,
easier if I knew how to actually like play an instrument. Like I'm just gonna get something done and blah, 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 done. Boom. That'd be awesome.
It's been pretty nice. Like one thing I used to do, I don't know if you guys do this. I would post a video on private or like unlisted, and then give it a day, and then like if a strike came in, I'd be like, oh, I gotta change the song. Or if it didn't came in, I'd be like, okay, it's good to go. And then I'd let it go live. Like, that's how I used to like check for songs. But it was such a hassle. Like when I'd be done with a video, I would just want to post it and like move on. So when I do like my own background songs, it's nice. I can kind of just like, all right, it's there. And if I ever get a strike for my own song, I'll have some questions for YouTube.
Yeah, well,
be like, what happened?
You
could
would
happen,
be
right?
surprised. I've seen it happen. Like some guy I think he actually had like millions of subscribers. Even he made an original song and someone claimed it, and YouTube basically decided. Well, not even YouTube decided. It's just the way the system is implemented. It's so bad that someone was able to claim his song and break copyright law for like years on end. I don't know if that thing ever got solved, which is ridiculous.
I would assume no.
I have a nightmare that happens where if for some reason Capcom decides to take the theme song for Poke Village and decide to make it like copyrighted, my entire channel goes down.
Yeah.
And so like I've constantly thought about like I should commission a musician to make some nice chill background music that I could use in all my videos, but at this point it's become so iconic and I know I'm good with Capcom,
like
so I'm like, I was like, whatever, you know what, we'll just play it wild and see what happens.
Yeah.
You have 700 copyright strikes.
Just one day your email is just like all red.
Boom.
Something will happen to me because like I just don't just use Poke. I use a bunch of them. Like I'll use Astera, Poke, like Yukumo.
Just don't
Valhabar.
use the theme song for Jen Moran. That is copyrighted and it will strike you. It's
Really?
the one song from Monster Hunter you cannot use.
Wow.
That's so interesting.
So in like older videos when I was showing footage, I had to like literally strip out the sound because you can't have it.
Right.
I don't know who they
I
must have
wonder
published
why-
like a soundtrack through a
Yeah.
different label, and that publisher must have content ID'd registered it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But to give you an idea how bad it is, just the other day I live streamed Final Fantasy VII, the episode intermission, the DLC, and I got a content ID claim on what they identified as the Final Fantasy VII main theme, and it said it is owned by Sony and Warner Chappell, and I'm just like, okay.
Interesting.
I don't know what to tell you. That's kind of weird.
That's the problem when you're working with video games that also have soundtracks that get sold. You have music record labels, and they want to protect their CD, and it gets really ugly. So,
yeah.
So, Rurikhan, do you play any instruments, or have you played any instruments? I'm curious.
I used to fiddle around with the acoustic guitar just a little bit, but I've completely lost it now. I used to know how to play the bass line for what's that called? Thunderstruck.
Oh, nice.
Just the bass line. That's all I knew how to play. But I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh, look at this, so cool. I can do this.
Sick.
And then the bass line for like Smoke on the Water, I knew that one too. Dan, 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 dan,
yeah.
dan. Those were the few things that I knew how to do. But yeah, I love the acoustic guitar. Really, really cool.
Perfect. Those are some classics.
I mean,
yeah.
As far as guitar and piano, I can play the Khezu theme song really well.
Classic right there, for sure. Especially that Rise remix. Oh,
it's
man.
effortless, right? For me. Music used to be my life, actually, and it's interesting that you were mentioning about like being forced to versus deciding to do it yourself, because I started playing clarinet in elementary school, and then I played flute. I played clarinet was my main, if you want to call it a weapon.
My main.
My sub was tenor sax. And then when I discovered that flute is basically the same figures as a tenor sax, that was easy for me to jump over to flute as well.
Oh, nice.
And so I played those, and I did jazz bands and orchestras and competitions, and that was my life all the way through high school. And then I woke up literally one morning. I just woke up, and I had zero desire to play, and it never came back. And I think it's because, it was just gone. And I don't know if it was a combination of just feeling too much pressure to play it, even though I really enjoyed it, or if it was like destiny knocking at my door saying, hey, you're going to end up joining an orchestra and touring the world, and that'll be your life. So if you really want to go to Japan, which is your life dream, so you can give birth to a monster hunter, then you need to stop playing music. So
that's so interesting. It was like fork in the road.
Yeah, but I still appreciate and love music very much. So it's so I've been I'm really curious to ask you, since you're so musically inclined, about your thoughts on the music of Monster Hunter Rise, and if there's any specific tracks that tingle you.
For sure, yes. Yeah, I think Monster Hunter, the music of Monster Hunter it's so good. Like I was telling my stream a while ago that I was surprised that Iceborne didn't get nominated at least for like soundtrack or even sound design, because that was a category, and the sound design of Iceborne is like insane. Like what they brought like ice blocks into the studio for like volcano sounds and stuff like that.
Yeah, the Foley artists are great.
Yeah, they were definitely they were snubbed from the Game Awards.
I think that there's something about the Game Awards that very rarely do they actually listen to Japanese soundtracks. I feel like with the Nier soundtrack, it was just because Nier's soundtrack won an award at one point, and I was like, okay, that's the one Japanese game that you're ever going to give this award to, right? Because they've repeatedly snubbed Final Fantasy XIV, Xenoblade. All of the Xenoblade games have been completely ignored, and it's got phenomenal soundtracks. So I just think that in general, they don't play that many Japanese games, and that's probably why.
Definitely possible. But yeah, like the music has been, it's just been like just going up. Like music, Monster Hunter's music has been good, and like it just keeps getting better. Like there are so many songs in Iceborne that were obviously good. But one thing that like I think really stuck out with Rise is that there was like vocals, like that was kind of new.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like I think I remember the demo. I remember like Socks sent me the demo a little early, and I opened the demo, and it's just like one of the twins singing, and I just like remember like I just like sat there. I'm like, whoa, this is like really pretty, and like I don't know, it just like it was like one of the cooler sitting in a menu moments I've had for like, because like the hype of the game plus the song was like a cool experience. And I don't know about you guys, but I always remember something that sticks with me a lot is like the menu. The first time I look at the menu of a Monster Hunter game, I don't know what it is about it, but it just really sticks with me. Like any game, but of course Monster Hunter, because we all love it. Like I remember the first time I looked at the menu for World while waiting for the demo, and just remember like the excitement of that.
Oh yeah,
but, yeah.
And then when you realize that it changes like every other time, and you get
like where you are in the game, it would change, which is so cool. But yeah, Rise's music is so good. Like yeah, just the menu, the main hub, not the hub, but like the steel works.
The steel
that's
works.
really pretty. Yeah, and the music is like so good, and the Rise remix of songs are like really, really solid. I think the only one where I don't prefer the Rise to an old one is like Rajang's. I liked the like funky jungle conga version of Iceborne. Like I'm not sure if Rajang needs like orchestral chanting. Like it works with some monsters, not so much his, but like for everybody else, it's sick. Like everybody's theme is so good.
And Bellatrix is like, I started this, you know.
I preferred the original Basil as well, the one in World. I thought was the orchestral was a little bit heavier than it was here. Here it felt more tame.
For sure.
But Chameleos I thought was amazing because they changed some stuff around the Chameleos track, and I was like,
yes,
that's one of the more impressive remixes for me.
Yeah,
I don't know if people can truly appreciate the skill of Capcom's choice of sound directors, like the main composer, because when you look at the soundtrack, like there's a bunch of composers, right?
Yeah.
And there's like the same 3 or 4 of them, but there behind that is an employee who is the sound, you know, the main composer, sound director, who has to give instructions that are not going to limit their creativity, but still, you know, make it cohesive.
Yeah.
And it's pretty interesting how well they're always able to do this. Like, nothing ever sticks out as weird or jarring. Everything always feels so perfect.
That's very true. Like it fits. It's like, hey, like you're gonna be making the song to like an ice dragon. Good luck. And then like they do it, like and they just nail it or something. It is pretty cool. The last thing I'll say on that is the dance remixes are really good.
Oh yeah,
they're like insane. Like the first time I listened to it, I was like, yo, this is like I put it on because I just bought it. And I was kind of just like going about my day, and then like I was like bobbing my head. I'm like, "What is this song?" I'm like, "Oh, this is in the game. What?" Like they're so good. They're really good. No, Rise's music is fantastic.
So for all three of us, all 2 of you guys, what song do you have set currently as your Gathering Hall BGM? Because if people don't know, you can actually change it. I think in room service you can change which song you have.
I have all the default ones. I haven't really touched it all that much because I just enjoy the default ones so much. They're like easy to listen to for time and time and time again, never gets old. So I just leave the default ones. But
you just want to see Bum and Tish going at it, right?
Yeah.
I love how it syncs up with the song too. What about yours, Gaijin? Oh,
me, I think I'm actually using the Yukumo one.
You're using Yakumo because I've been in your lobby. It sounds good.
Yeah. Something about it. And then Yun is using all the dance remixes. She loves them.
Nice.
Yeah. The other day, one of the interesting things that I noticed was that remember when me and Yuna we were playing around in the training area.
Yeah.
And then as we were leaving, you left before I disconnected, so it was just me and Yuna in the lobby, and it transitioned to her lobby. And I was caught off guard because all of a sudden we're in the training room and it starts playing like the Narwa theme. And I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like it all of a sudden became really epic. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? This came out of nowhere. It is weird
that it like suddenly changes. Yeah.
That was funny.
The Narwa theme is so good. Or like the All Mother theme is so good too. Yeah. I was going to check, but I guess it's like not that important. Had my Switch right here.
It's
definitely...
is that the arms? Is that the arms colors? The yellow?
Yes.
Is it?
Oh, those are so nice.
My Joy-Cons were drifting, so I just grabbed like whatever they had.
That's so nice.
Definitely drifting because of Moss Center. Well, that and Smash.
Well, they always drift.
Yeah. I definitely have a remix one. I don't know which one I do, but it's definitely a remix. But before that, I did have Poke Village because that's a classic.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I
Poke
guess this would be
Villages.
a weird segue for me, at least to explain to some of the listeners. Most of you guys probably already know this, but why I decided to be such a dad and introduce myself as Narwa Hunter instead of Gaijin Hunter. Is basically because that's all I've done for the last few weeks is hunt Narwa, Ibushi, and All Mother. Like, it's been non-stop. It's Yuna's favorite monster, and we've been doing all these sorts of challenges.
All the challenges,
and just really enjoying the hunt. And we were doing, like, the naked run was not so bad. We've done that, I think, probably a dozen times at this point now, with different weapons just for fun. But the one that was the hardest for us was getting a sub-6 time. So it was like a 5 minute and 45 seconds we got.
Nice.
That took several days, and it took a lot of teamwork and coordination and timing and stuff. But it's just so funny. That's all we hunt. I think Yuna had something like 355 Ibushis like killed. Like, and I was looking at her guild card and almost 200 All Mothers. It's just kind of like
nice.
I was like, that's how I'm gonna have to call myself, Narwa Hunter.
Can I piggyback off that for a second?
Yes.
I have a question. Well, I'll have questions for you guys because I tend to always ask things, even though I get invited. But I think I gotta say it's such like a very lovely and wholesome relationship that you have with your daughter. And I think I mean, I can't speak from experience, but like I think if you have a kid and you're really into something, you kind of want them to be into it too. Yep. And I think you nailed it. Like, she's as into Monster Hunter as you are, but like you weren't like, oh, you in this household we play Monster Hunter or else. Like,
yeah, like
people
don't realize it was. I mean, she's been exposed to it to the point that I'm a huge fan and I play it, and she knows I made videos and stuff like that. But I've never asked her to play it.
Right.
I wanted it to be her thing, so it was her starting back in PlayStation Portable. No, Nintendo 3DS with what was it? I can't remember if it was Monster Hunter Village. Which was the really cute feline game that they had here in Japan.
The one that was developed by From Software?
Yeah.
Was it actually?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Wow, that's so interesting.
And that was
Wow,
a really
that.
cute sort of like, Animal Crossing like game. And so we did that. And she played Stories. She really enjoyed that. But as far as main Monster Hunter, she's seen it, but I very purposely, very consciously, I was like, I'm not going to even suggest it. It's got to be a decision on her own. And it wasn't until the Rise demo that she says, it's going to be my debut. I'm like,
nice.
Oh, okay. You want to play? Sweet. And then what's really funny is people are like, oh, she's good because she learns from the best or whatever. I was like, she doesn't listen to me. You kidding me? She's never seen one of my tutorial videos. She yells at me anytime I try to teach her moves. She's just like, shut up. Let me learn it myself. And so it's like, no, it's not that. But I think it's important, right, to let it be your thing. And if they're not into it, they're not into it, And that's your job as a parent is to expose them to as much as you can of variety, and just hopefully they find stuff that they're a fan of.
Definitely,
and, the fact that it just happens to be my major hobby is a dream
that's
come
so
true.
cool.
So this year,
that's awesome.
The channel has suffered. I have not been able to publish much content, but you know what? This is once in a lifetime. So I'm
that's awesome.
It's so good.
And like, there's that level of it, like how, like as a parent, how can you like I would love for my kids to be musicians too, but like definitely don't want to be like, or pick up that guitar, or sit down on the piano. Like, you want to like let them discover it on their own. But then like an even more surface level of that, and I've talked about this too, I think like sometimes like Monster Hunter fans really want their friends to play Monster Hunter, and so we can kind of be a bit overbearing. So I think it's like, you don't have to take a father-daughter approach, but I think it is important to like kind of like, you can answer questions when asked, but not be like, because I've been guilty of that. I've definitely like pushed Monster Hunter onto friends and scared them away. But then when I got a second chance, kind of changed my approach and like, was like a bit more softer with it.
I push Monster Hunter into anyone that will hear me. but here's the thing. I've done the same thing with Dark Souls back in the day, because there was so many people that were kind of like, oh, it's so hard, I'll never get into it, that there's no way. And I would just like take the approach of, no, listen, just think about this easy mechanic and then this easy mechanic, and that'll get you started. And it's kind of like the same thing that I do with Monster Hunter. I'm just like, no, listen, don't worry about the complexity of this weapon, right? Like, look, here's 2 moves, and now here's another one, and then one more, and you just like slowly introduce it like that. But yeah, I do push
definitely.
Monster Hunter to everyone that will hear me.
One day we're gonna have Rurikhan's child doing level 1 naked Dark Souls speedruns. And
Hey,
yeah.
Listen, I've introduced my son to Monster Hunter a little bit. He showed a little bit of interest in playing it, and I was like, yeah, sure. It's like he can't even do the controls properly yet because he's only 6.
And then he goes to choose bow or longsword, and you're like, we only use shields in this house.
No. Listen, I made a set. He uses my 100% crit SNS set because it's easy to just like play around with it, right? But what I do, and this is a really cool thing that Monster Hunter Rise does, which is if you have, someone's playing with it handheld or in any other way with a controller, if you hook up a second controller, it mirrors the inputs. So you have...
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So like I can control the camera with one controller while he's playing with the other one because he's confused by controlling the camera.
Oh,
and that is super cool. Yeah, so like I help him out with the other controller.
You're like a director, right? You're like...
Yeah, I'm just like keeping the monster in the camera and just like, quick, press the button, attack now, get him. It's actually really cool.
You like quickly heal for him, like just scroll over to the mega potion.
And the worst part is that he'll roll out of it. So like I'll start healing and he'll start attacking and just like cancel the heal.
It's like, no.
We don't need heals, Dad. We're good.
That's awesome.
I was surprised. I was surprised because earlier this week, like I was putting him to bed, and usually, there's bedtime story and all that stuff, and he just turns around, Dad, instead of a story, can we do a hunt? I was like, yeah, sure.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
sure.
Tears starts coming. Daddy, why are your eyes so watery?
Yeah.
Nothing. So.
Let me tell you.
But it's interesting though, like you say about pushing music on a child specifically because my ex-wife, I'm a single father for don't know, she didn't die or anything. Like I have good relations with her. That's its own thing. But she was a violinist,
yes.
And also a pianist as well. And so we like bought like I was against it, but she bought like the big piano, and it's like, okay, Yuna's gonna play piano and she's gonna pick up the and man, Yuna had no interest at all.
Yeah.
And because it was starting to be pushed on her, she just decided to hit her rebellious phase early, and she's like, screw that. So that was a huge mistake. And then she draws a lot, and I love and I encourage it by just enjoying her drawings. I never tell her what to draw. I don't give her critical feedback, because what's the point? It's just fun for her, right?
She's really good too.
Yeah, the first incline, and I understand that it's an act of love, but it's like you show it to like the grandparents or her mother, or so it's like, oh, you should be bringing her to like drawing school, or you should be doing that. Or it's like you should look into being a manga artist. I'm like, stop trying to push
monetize.
Exactly.
Like don't even talk about it. It's like, let her enjoy it. Like all the drawings that she does is with her finger. She still doesn't use the stylus or a pen.
Whoa,
that's cool. She just really enjoys it. I'm like, there's artists of all different types, you know, but do try everything out because you never know what you might like. But I was like, hey, you do you, man. That's art.
That's awesome. No, but listen, let it blossom.
You got to monetize it like early on, just like put her in school and then monetize it. Boom, boom. Because every single thing we do has to be about the money. Every single thing, every waking moment. And I think that Japan in particular is kind of like very, it has that culture behind it, right? Where it's like, no, you have to be a doctor or something like that, right?
It's not as extreme as some of the other I think Asian countries, but there's still a lot of pressure from parents to, and I think people think that it's like child abuse, and it's like, wow, they're trying to push their child and whatnot. But it's actually, being here in Asia, it's more clear that it's just a cultural different way of trying to express love and hope for your child. Like they want them to become wildly successful and have a good time, because face it, the previous generations, like people say it was better back in the day. No, it was not. So it's like they want their kids to be well off, and I think they can be overbearing, but that's only because that's how they were raised, and you're a product of your environment. So
for sure,
hopefully that starts to change with some of the parents of the new generations.
I feel like I was going to say,
go ahead.
Like probably one thing that we all kind of have, like you for both of you for parenting and me like teaching, is that like if you make once you start making tutorials, you kind of have this like teacher a way of explaining things and doing things. Like I feel like I had like returns going back and forth. Like when I started doing tutorials, it helped my teaching, and then as I taught more, it helped my tutorials, and then it was just like kind of back and forth. So you kind of like have things to gain from that, or from parenting, and then like it helps you kind of like be more patient in your videos or on stream if you're explaining something, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
And then one thing too that I've noticed for me is that if you teach, you become a better learner. And I feel like I've become a much better learner after teaching for a couple of years now. Like I'm like more patient with myself. Like I'll like try things a couple more times where in the past I may have like quit because I'm really stubborn. And then you kind of like start. Well, hopefully you start to like be patient with yourself too. And then like you get better at things faster, which I think is pretty cool. Like games, music, whatever. It's pretty cool.
I love that concept of if you can't, I don't know, it's probably an old concept, so I'm not going to attribute it to anybody or any one place or time, but the concept of if you can't explain something complicated to a child in simple terms, then you don't quite understand it yourself. And
I like
it's
that,
an interesting idea. It's like you should be able to explain at the base anything, even physics, to a child in a way that they understand, and that's the point of being a teacher is how you, and once you start really thinking about stuff, that's when you start abstracting it and understanding it better yourself. So I always find when I make a video, and I know Rurikhan, you've mentioned you've done the same, is not only is it the time we put in trying to fiddle around with the weapons and get familiar with it ourselves, but just going through all that exercise of putting it all together is actually, I learn more from my tutorials than probably anybody who watches them. You know, just the art of making it is so fun. So even if it had 0 views, I'd still do it.
Word up.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Rurikhan?
I was gonna ask you which Monster Hunter did you get started with?
Oh, for sure. The Monster Hunter lore. I started with Freedom. So I started handheld, like from the beginning.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
So I like to say all the time that I started with Freedom, but it wasn't until Try that I was a Monster Hunter fan. Like I played Freedom and Freedom Unite. Was I a fan? Not really. Freedom Unite pissed me off. Like like if there was like a different timeline where I just like quit and never picked it back up, like I would not be talking to you guys right now. Like, but I was a super stubborn kid, and I had this thing, right, where I used to hate, I was a sore loser, but I was especially very salty about losing to the computer in a game. Like, because at least at least if I lost to a person, I'd be like, okay, well, I lost to a person, but I used to hate losing to the computer, like the NPC. So there was something about Monster Hunter that used to just like piss me off so much. I was like an angry little shit. So I was so stubborn, and I would like refuse to quit until like I killed Yangaruga or something like that. So I played Monster Hunter since Freedom, but in Try is when I like started becoming a fan of the game.
It's really funny because that's the exact opposite of my story. So the first Monster I ever played, first Monster I ever played was Try, and I hated it because I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what the loop was. I didn't know a damn thing. It's just I had this friend that had told me, dude, Monster Hunter's amazing. So I bought like the collector's edition of Monster Hunter Try, and I was like, I hate this game. This thing is terrible. Like whatever, right? And so eventually, I also bought Freedom Unite for the Vita, and then I played Freedom Unite with my friend who taught me how to actually play the game and what the loop was and all. And that's when I started getting into it. And then I was like, okay, now I get it. This is really cool. I like this game.
Awesome. Yeah. It's like, that really is the opposite. Yeah. There's always like the one game, I would assume, for anyone who's like starting at their own time, the one game that like clicks it for you. Hopefully if it's your first game, then that's awesome. But sometimes it's not always the case.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was asking Yuna about like what she considers her first Monster Hunter game, because she started with the demo for Monster Hunter Rise because she loves Mizutsune.
Oh, cool.
To death. She's always liked that monster, even before she played any of the games. So she's like, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna fight Mizutsune. I'm thinking, it's actually not really tuned for beginners. It's
the devils
hard.
are always like wild. It's so funny.
I know, but it like almost instantly clicked for her. Like she just
awesome.
I mean, she's a huge gamer, so she plays tons of games anyways. And yeah, she got into it. She killed Mizutsune with every weapon and did everything and figured out what she liked and everything. But then we did Iceborne, World in Iceborne, which was such a great experience playing that together.
Nice.
Minus the cutscene
mitigation. Yeah.
But we had such a good time. And so she actually considers Monster Hunter World in Iceborne her first Monster Hunter game. So that's the one where she really understood the world building, the mechanics, the loops, and everything.
For sure.
And then Rise being her second Monster Hunter game.
Nice.
Which is interesting. As far as me, I remember it's so funny that I remember it because it was such a throwaway moment. Mm-hmm. But I guess my brain has just picked out the memory and has always stuck with me that I remember the exact moment I saw Monster Hunter for the first time was on a commute on the train to work in Tokyo, Japan, where I live. And there was a middle school kid next to me on the train playing on his PSP.
Whoa, cool.
And his left hand looked like it was contorted. Because he was
He's doing the old claw.
Yeah. And there was a student next to him, and the two were playing on PSP together, and they were in the hills and forest against Arathian. I think they were playing Freedom Unite.
Nice.
Or Second G or whatever. And I remember glancing over and seeing what they were doing. I'm like, oh, there's like a cool looking dragon. I'm like, there's no HP gauge or anything.
Yeah,
like,
that was the first thing I noticed.
What a weird game. And I put it out of my head for years. And then, as I started getting more involved and interested in the game industry in full, as I started to learn the language as well, then I said, okay, I'm going to give this, I know it's a big thing. I was like, I'm going to give it an honest try. And I bought Monster Hunter 3G when it came out. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be it. And then a week later, I was like, I'm selling it. This game sucks. And literally the reason why I decided to get into that was the 8-4 podcast. I have my good friends at 8-4. We're talking about their memories of their first encounter of Jen Moran. And it sounded so epic. I was like, oh my God, I got to.
It really is epic. Yeah.
Yep.
It is. And so I bought it. I bought the Circle Pad Pro, which I hated. I immediately threw that thing away. I'm like, I'm not using this piece of junk. Mm-hmm. And target camera is where I was born, which is why I can't play without a target camera right now, because that's where I was born, was using target camera. And
Word.
it's a point of mocking between me and Yuna. She's always like, oh, you crutch, you always need your target camera, and she doesn't touch it. So it's quite funny. But then I was gonna sell it, and it was a week later. People were pleading with me to give it another shot, and then I just went to lunch with a coworker who had stopped playing Monster Hunter, but had played it back in the day. And I was telling him, like, man, this game sucks. And he's like, explain to me what the game is. And then I explained. He's like, nah, man, you don't understand what this game is. It's not an action game. It's a hunting game. Mm-hmm. And then, like, he gave me, like, the philosophical, like,
oh, snap.
Like, the magic, sensei moment where he explained to me the basics over a 30-minute lunch. Hamburger, rice, and potatoes or whatever. And I went back home, and I changed my mindset, changed my weapon, and I went into it much more patient. And I think it was within 36 hours, nice. Like real time, not like 36 hours of playing.
Right.
Like the moment I first got my first Arzuros down, and I was able to make its armor, I'm like,
that's it.
Click.
The bug is implanted.
That's it. Gone. And then I was Lancer back then. I was like, that's it. No going back, and I was hardcore into it. So
awesome.
I think that out of all the video game franchises, this is the one that benefits the most from word of mouth, because whoever gets into it, we basically become ambassadors of the game. We're like, nah, dude, listen, you don't understand.
Yeah, dude, listen. Yeah.
Like, you think you don't like it, but listen, just hear me out. Like, I actually
Did you guys see? Did you see? There's a YouTube channel called Arlo. It's like it's almost like a Muppet. Like he's like a blue guy puppet, and he does he plays a character, and he does like game reviews and plays games and stuff. And he is like endlessly addicted to Monster Hunter Rise. Like he was his first Monster Hunter game, And so he made like a video saying, I don't even want to review the game. I don't want to play other games. He's like, I love this. Oh my God. And like, it's so funny.
Yes.
Him and like, there's Hey Jay Hunts, like seeing people
Hey
fall
Jay
in love with the
story
franchise
really
is
cool.
just such a, it's a special experience. And I'm always like nervous because like we were saying, like the overbearing, we love it. So we were trying to shove it down their throats. I'm like, shut up, everybody. Just let them have the experience.
Yeah.
I got a friend of mine into Rise. He had never played a Monster Hunter before, and I was just like, listen, dude, this is the one. You have a Switch. You're going to get into this, and I'm going to explain to you how it works. And then he disappointed me forever because he mains the longsword.
Oh. Dude, they made it too strong. It's like so fun.
And they're
they're gonna make
buffing
it stronger later today in a few hours.
Wait, really?
1 hour, 1 hour and 7 minutes later, as of right now. They if you look at the bug fix list for 3.1 update, there's all sorts of things about the Helmbreaker didn't fix that. It's gonna hit easier. It was missing, but now it's not gonna miss. I'm like,
damn,
word. And then there was like Charge Blade. They're like, it was too easy for it to go left or right and whiff for the Ultra. I'm like, oh, they're fixing that. Oh, damn.
Nice. That's pretty good.
But I find it interesting that so many people were complaining about the Helmbreaker missing. And the first time that I picked it up on stream, I was like, dude, I'm hitting Helmbreakers and I don't even think I'm in the same zip code as the monster. I don't know what you people are talking about. Y'all are crazy.
The same thing happens to me. I whiff them so bad and I just see like the 6 numbers and I'm like, okay.
But
there's a video that I shared. I shared this on Twitter, but this is a fascinating video of a mechanic that even I didn't understand, which is when you do the Helmbreaker, you can press just ZR to trigger it, or you can press X and ZR.
X, yes.
And there's a difference with how and where it hits. So if your target's really low and you want it all focused, then you do ZR only. If you want the more wider spread, you hit X. I did not know that. And so I was like, wow, okay, that makes a huge difference.
It's pretty cool. Like that weapon could hit like a wet noodle, but it's so fun. And like that's what always sells me on a weapon. Like if it hits, we love big numbers for sure, but like if the weapon it just feels good, like I'm gonna like it. And it just feels too good in Rise. They gave it such a glow up.
So you're a gun lance man is what you're telling me, because it's the most fun weapon in Rise, but it does hit like a wet noodle.
I have I feel like gun lance is the Monster Hunter weapon of Monster Hunter. Like that's the weapon where like people will be like, I don't know about Gunlance, man, it sucks. And people will come into your chat and be like, dude, no, wait, hold on. Hold on, man. Let me explain. Like you don't know. But once I had a couple.
Do you play?
What do I play? Now I play everything. I made it a mission of mine to kind of at least get competent with like everything.
Yeah.
Like my main, weirdly enough, is Greatsword. Like I was going through my Switch clips like this morning. It's all Greatsword. It's too good.
So,
it's
question for you: Are you a rage / user, true charge / which one do you lean towards when you
like?
I suppose it differs by monster, but in general.
Like I love me some true charge, or rage / against the right monster is like too good. Like
when you hit it, it's like.
Yeah.
You see those 4 digits and you're like,
Yeah. It's like, and it has like, I don't even know. I just love that you can turn it around too. Like absorbing the damage is great too. But yeah, it's a mini, what was it in GU or Double Cross? Brimstone slash. Yeah, it's a mini Brimstone slash and it's so cool. And I love switch skills. Like, I think it's such a good idea. Well, we can talk about that like when we get segue there. But no, it's so good. But yeah, Greatsword's probably my main.
Segue and Third Fleet podcast is such a
segue.
Just jump to different things.
No, but it's like in regards to switch skills, one of the things that I personally noticed when I was playing through it the first time was that how it made everything fresh. Because like you're playing through it, and usually it's like you master the moveset of the weapon. And they're like, okay, so this is what this weapon's going to be like. It's always going to be like this. Even in GU, it's like, okay, so it's got this different style, but here's what the thing is. And in Rise, it definitely felt like, oh, there's a new thing. Let me try out this new thing. Holy crap, this changes everything. This is amazing. Yeah. So you're constantly like changing stuff around. And I felt like it kept everything fresh, particularly for the gun lance. Yeah, I think it's cool.
So
I
good.
think I think it's the reason why they made the game easy. I'm sure that they're going to make an ultimate expansion. And it's going to kick our butts.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like we're already getting hints with some of the advanced quests. Like the monsters are hitting hard. They're like, hey, you want to stack up all those attacks and crits? Okay, well, your defense is sitting there at 380, buddy. I don't know if your Hunter S. Greaves are going to pull you through this or not. And so it's a trade-off at that point. But I know when they were making Generations, which is the same director, Ichinose, he very specifically, they said that they were making the game a little bit easier because they wanted experimentation, and they realized that the game is too difficult at the start, especially.
You'll keep it safe. You'll keep it, you won't try.
You won't even try different switch skills, because the moment you try it and you get your ass kicked, you're like, okay, I'm not feeling it. So if you tone it down, at least for the first entry, it just makes it much easier to just screw around and have fun, which I personally like.
For sure.
And I'm sure they'll bring that difficulty in the expansion.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And I'm curious about if they'll add in I'm sure they will, but more switch skills.
Oh, I think so too. At least one more for each weapon, maybe. Like GU did with the
one crazy one.
Which one was the switch skill that surprised you the most?
Me?
Yeah.
That's a crazy question. That's a good...
I mean,
we've talked about
being
this
able
before.
to blast around was out of nowhere. I was like, what is this? But I feel like
wait a minute, out of nowhere you didn't play GU? GU had Blast Dash.
No, exactly. But just the fact that it's just your A button. Because we saw it in the trailer, and I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be a switch."
You can do it as a
skill.
normal move. Yeah,
it's you can do 6 of them if you have 6 shells, which is
no. It caps out at 3.
three.
Yeah.
I'm still new, but I think surprised me the most. I don't know. There's a lot that I was just like, "Oh, this is just too good." I love Adamant Slash for Greatsword, just just strong charge that you can't get smacked out of. That was so nice. I love that they gave Lance Adept Guard. I did not see that coming. That was a really nice surprise.
Man, did they take the window? It is so severe.
I hate that skill so much.
Wait, sorry, Gaijin, what did you say?
I
heard that Rurikhan hates it.
So yeah, they made it so severe, the timing.
It's
but
tough.
it's actually
it's tight, yeah.
But man, did you see Tech Lancer? Tech Lancer's the guy who loves Kushala. He loves Kushala more than anybody in the world, and he had a clip of him doing 5 or 6 perfect just guards from a Kushala tornado, and then finishing it. I'm it's a so Daigo moment. It's so good.
Yeah, they made it tight, but it hits so hard, and that was a surprise. I did not see that coming. They have a pseudo Valor Longsword and Valor Hammer in the Courage style. I don't know I forgot what the longsword one's called. Yeah, I was honestly I guess a general answer is I was just kind of happy to see any remnants of GU, because obviously GU has a special place in my heart. It's the game that I grew the most with, have played the most now. I think I finally passed for you. So any spiritual, it's like in an anime when the ghost of your teammates are in the back. It's just GU's in the back with the thumbs up. And it's we're still here. Anything
was a pioneer in many ways. Yeah,
it really was. So yeah, any switch skill that was a remnant of GU was really cool. But honestly, they were all really interesting. I think the saw, I keep forgetting the actual name, but I call it the chainsaw for Charge Blade. I think it's a better application than how it was in Iceborne. I think they handle it better. So I like that they just tried things again, but kind of ironed it out, kind of.
They put a new spin on it. Oh!
Don't forget to comment, and subscribe for more podcasts.
Socks made that one during the introduction of Savage Axe Slash on a tweet. He was like,
"Oh, did he?"
I think it was even in one of the trailers. I think Socks voiced it or something. It was like, "Put a new spin on the Charge Blade with the new Savage Axe Slash." So it was something. I remember that he definitely did it.
It's not Monster Hunter without puns, man. It's gotta be there.
It was good.
What about you guys? What switch skills do you like?
I know Rurikhan. He's like blast dash. Well, that's not a switch skill.
No, I mean, in terms of the ones that surprised me the most, I think it was something with the switch axe. Even though right now, potentially one of the ones that I really enjoy using the most is Metsu. Metsu is so brutally satisfying. It's just so good. And it's not even from my main weapon, but it just feels so good to just pull it off. And particularly if you get like a KO while you're doing it. Because like I fished Zinogre, Apex Zinogre out of the sky twice in the same hunt, and it felt so good. I was like,
oh, hell
dude,
yeah. Oh,
it doesn't get any... What?
You posted a clip of that, right? I think on Twitter? Or somebody did that exact same thing.
I don't know. I definitely did it twice in the same hunt, but nobody from my stream clipped it. Because it's like that meme that people are just like, oh yeah, the streamer moment. Did you clip it? Did you clip it? No, nobody clipped it.
The Anakin meme.
Yeah, exactly.
Just staring at you. What about you, Gaijin?
Oh man, it's tough to say, but I mean, there's a few that stick out when you say switch skill. There's a few that stick out in my mind, and one of them it's gonna always be Recall Kinsect, only because my incredibly different stance and how I felt like I was alien to this world. Everybody in the world, because of the horrible naming of it's named so bad.
The name of that
really
skill was terrible.
Yeah.
So like, and I get it. It's like everybody was so lukewarm and like, what the heck is with this thing? But I was like the only person who was like, oh, this is hype.
Yeah.
And then like it's really good, like in the game. Like, and then there was mechanics we didn't know. Like they changed it so like as you do more aerial hits, you actually get damage
like
increases.
More damage,
Yeah, and that's an easy way to level that up so you can do some other moves. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So that sticks in my memory. But the Metsu Shoryugeki as well, because it literally changed the sword and shield into the light hammer. And
it really is,
use it like I use it like, and like, oh, you're gonna give me 20 units of white? Oh, that's more than enough for 5 minutes because I'm not using my sword. What are you talking about? You know, it's like
the dual shield.
I'm probably one of the few people that is still using the sword and shield because I just like it. So I'll play with like polish and stuff like that, just so that I can do all of the sword moves. Because I'm like, nah, I don't care. I want to use all of the moves in this weapon. I don't like limiting myself to a few moves. It was one of my biggest frustrations with the long shelling gun lance during World was the fact that no, you just spam charge shells. That's your job forever. I was like, no, I want to slam and do other things.
Do more things, yeah.
But I think the one I was most surprised and pleased at was I could not believe that they were giving us the adept counter for dual blades.
Yeah, right.
I was like,
that's so cool.
That was like one of my favorite ways to play the weapon. And I was like, and it's like, I was like, this is like too
so
good.
good.
Like, did y'all make a mistake or something? Did you give me something that was way too powerful? Like I can counter like crazy and it's only one bug and it recharges fast. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And so it's like
dual blades feel so good. So good.
It was like picking up an old Christmas present. I'm just like, oh wow, for me? So like I love it.
So there's a question that we're mandated. I mean, there's obviously a couple of questions like favorite weapon. We haven't asked the monster one yet. So which one?
Oh, for sure.
This one is a two-parter though. Which one's your favorite one of all time? And then, which one is your favorite new one in Rise?
Okay, so it's funny because a lot of people like. I obviously like. I mess with Lance heavily. But it wasn't always like a big favorite. It definitely became more of a favorite during like GU and Iceborne. But like my real like long time weapon is like Hammer. And Rise and Iceborne as well. But Rise like really rekindled that. Like I played Hammer in the demo and that was like opening like a Christmas present. Like an old or like finding an old gift in your closet from
Crater.
Yeah, it's so strong, and it just feels so good. So I think like one of my favorite, one of my favorite weapons of all time has always been Greatsword, but I always used to suck at it. So like a mission of mine was to get better at it because it's one of my favorite weapons to watch speedrunning. I feel like Greatsword players always like just go nuts anytime a game comes out. They start like they like stand facing nothing. I'm like, what are you doing? And then like the monster's head just like moves right into place. It's so good. And thanks to like Valor Greatsword, Iceborne, and Rise, I've gotten better at it, and like now it's my main. In Rise, it's like my most played now. So I'll give my favorite new weapon to Greatsword. It's like not new in that sense, but like now it's my favorite, but I'm actually good at it now. As opposed to before, it was like my favorite, but I wasn't that good. I think my favorite weapon of all time has got to go to Hammer for sure.
So good. Just like Ryozu. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's always good. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, he definitely gives it a bit of extra love.
Yeah. How about monsters? What's your all-time favorite monster and favorite new one in Rise?
Ooh. I get asked this a lot. Like, I usually think of like what monster is just cool, but I also think of like, well, who do I like fighting? I think a monster that like success like is really high up there for both is like Glavenus, like because it's a freaking sword dinosaur. But I also think that Glavenus is one of the best designed hunts like in the game. Like it's so good.
Unlike the dog, right?
Which dog?
Mizu. Because obviously Glavenus is better.
All I hear right now is behind me is Eric's gaming going, yeah, boy. Like your bubble chicken. Woo.
Yeah. Well,
here's a. I'm going to pull you way off subject again.
No, sure.
What did you think about the new subspecies in Iceborne, the acidic Glavenus? Since you like the monsters so much,
it was good. Like almost like immemorable. I kind of forgot about it, but the fact that Glavenus is in the name gives it some points. But I did like that I wasn't like automatically good at it just because I know Glavenus. Like, in fact, I liked that they put some moves that were like, this is what normal Glavenus would do, but not me. And then like it does like a different spin. Really random. Everyone was like, I think when people think of a subspecies, they're like, oh, this thing plus water or this thing plus ice. So I like that for Glavenus. It was just like acidic. Like, what the heck is that? Like, it was so random. But
how
it was
about
a cool like
Hellblade?
spin on it.
Were you a Hellblade fan as well?
Yeah, Hellblade is great. Like when I think of it, like they're both obviously well designed, but Hellblade I think is like just like Hellblade. Glavenus is already great, and then Hellblade is just like a near perfect fight. I think it's so good. But I am a big fan of like the Deviants. I think the Deviants are some of the best designed fights in the series, like period. So the fact that a lot of the Apexes are drawing from that, like I was like, oh hell yeah! Like I was so excited because like until we saw gameplay, I didn't really know what was going on with them. They're so good. Like I think Soulseer is one of the best fights. I mean, I'm just gonna put all of them there, but like Soulseer is great. Thunderlord is great. Bloodbath, Diablos is fantastic. Like the Deviants are so good. Like they're so good. So as a result, I enjoy a lot of the Apexes in Rise because like they're like pseudo Deviants. They're a little watered down, but they're still fun.
Especially Apex Diablos when it comes to the watered down territory. Poor boy.
Yeah.
They did him so dirty.
I mean, it's hard to compare. Like Bloodbath is just
we've never seen a true high rank version of him, so that's what they interpreted him as a weaker version, and it feels like what a high rank version of that monster might be. And when we get that G rank or master rank,
exactly, yeah, that's what I think is gonna happen. Like the Apexes are kind of chilling right now, and then they're gonna like clap us all in G rank.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Glavenus is like one of my favorite fights of all time. There's so many. Like obviously I love Rashang. I love like pretty much any iteration of Zinogre. But I will say that in Rise, I think my favorite fight right now is Apex Zinogre. Because a lot of the Apexes, as we just said, they kind of feel like slightly nerfed versions of their former deviant selves. And then in comes like Apex, and he's like, nah, I got like 5 new moves, like watch out. And then he just like slaps you around, and he's hard, so fast. Yeah.
It's funny because last week I was actually, not this one, but the one before, I was actually practicing Apex Zinogre for my new Gunlance build that I was working on. And I was like, I got to get this down sub 10 minutes with the Gunlance. I have to do it. I'm pretty sure that it's not that great when it comes to speedrunning, like sub 10 Apex, whatever.
If it's great to you, that's all that matters.
I got to get this down to sub 10, and I got it down to sub 10 with the Gunlance. Yeah. And when I killed it, I was like, wait, what? I looked at the timer and I was like, wait, what? Yes. I actually did it? Jesus Christ. I was super
the best
surprised. Yeah, it's good.
Like even if you don't speed run, because I feel like that's always like a topic that's like floats around, comes back, it goes away, like, you know, playing casually or speed running. But like what I think what any player has in common is just accomplishing that wall that you give yourself. For some people, maybe it's a sub 4, a sub 3. For some people, it's just killing it without dying. You know, like, and just like whatever that is for you, just like that feeling of triumph when you do it is like unmatched. And I think that is like one of the best things that Monster Hunter has, like over anything else. Because like other games obviously have like really, really hard things you can beat if you're like a Souls fan or like a fighting game, like for sure. But I don't know, there's something about Monster Hunter that like there's some kind of satisfaction that like only these games like give me. I don't even know how to like properly word it.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't want to open
there.
up the can of controversy here or anything, because I don't want this to be a controversial subject or anything. But it is also a small segue to another topic I wanted to mention. But
for sure,
it's an interesting thing that comes up a lot in perspective when talking about the amount of content in any Monster Hunter game, period. Whether or not you are a player who chases RNG and you want to have that perfect set, or whether you're a player who wants to craft every set, so having a lot of sets is like really good for you, or whether you're a player who just doesn't care and it's about setting those personal goals and doing it, it's just fun. I think Monster Hunter in general, at least the way I view it, is basically like 100 hours of like rough, hard content, and then beyond that they're just giving you a play box with different toys. And for some games, the toys really connect with you. Sometimes they don't. But as long as you find like that one thing that you really enjoy, whether it's trying new weapons or trying new challenges or whatever, I think that's the true ending game, I would call it.
Yeah, exactly.
At least for me, at least. I know some people, it's like, you know, like, oh, you know, without Apex, do we all want Apex specific armor and weapons? Heck yeah, of course we do.
Yeah,
like, we're not dumb. Would that solve the content drip? No, because we'd have full sets by tomorrow.
We'd go
morning.
get it. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Sleep.
So
Problem solved.
ultimately, in the end, so I think ultimately in the end, it's, to many of us, is it fun? You know? And I was like, I don't need a reward to go fight. I mean, I would love a reward, sure. So I don't knock that, but I say, it's what you make of it. And I love the little soft goals, whether it's just as small, like you were saying, of, you know, how do I survive Glavenus's tail swipe? You know, if I can just get good at that, then that feels good, because you're like, I know what I'm doing. Like I've beaten it. I've overcome the computer, like you're saying. Screw the computer, right?
Yeah, definitely. No, Rurikhan, did you want to chime in before I go?
No, go.
I was gonna say I resonate with that very heavily, because I was just talking about this in my last stream, because like that was like I've been trying to like not look at social media too much, just for my own personal self. But I was seeing I was seeing kind of like the content thing floating around, and it always happens after
It's
an
it's
update.
my fault. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. It's whether it's one particular person or anybody.
Yeah,
but
it always comes up.
I'm on the same boat as you. Like, for me, like, you know what I think? Like, I think Monster Hunter at its peak, I think back to this, like, moment in time where I was in school, I would finish my homework, and I would get on 4 Ultimate online. Did I need to craft anything that day? No. I would just go, join a random hub, and be like, what do you need help with? And then just hunt. And then, like, you know, I would collect the pieces carved, but, like, I wasn't trying to build anything. Like, I was just playing. And I think, like, that is, like, Monster Hunter right there. Like, you don't, like, you almost, like, forget what you're even making, and you're just hunting. And
I mean, there's points where you notice, like, people are doing hunts, and they don't even bother to carve at the end. They're just like, whatever.
Yeah. I reached that point, like, quite a bit, yeah. But I do recognize that, like, I'm obviously, like, a huge fan of this series. So I could see that, like, that process, like that you and I have, and maybe you as well, Rurikhan, I do understand that could be in the minority. Like, some people want 100 monsters and like a bunch of sets, but I think, like, for me, I would much rather, like, the DLC or the update like whatever.
Yeah.
The Apex and Ogre is just a fun fight.
Yeah.
Instead of like, wow, this fight is a pain in the ass. It gave me a new layered armor, but it was a pain in the ass. I'd honestly, for me, I'd rather just like, nice, this is a fun fight I can repeat, even if it gave me nothing. Because I
was gonna say, like, give us a quest like the Super Brachy from 3 Ultimate, and you just gave us 50 hours of content. It's like,
exactly.
We're gonna have some, and we don't need no reward for that. One was like, overcoming that quest is just like,
Try had no end game. Try had nothing at the end. You just played.
No, so I think, so someone, I've noticed a lot of people brought up, because Rurikhan, you started this, well, not the whole subject, but you did a poll, which I thought was an interesting one, which was fascinating. It's going to differ by community and phrasing and stuff like that, but we did a poll, and I copied your idea, completely just ripped it off, because I wanted to see the difference between our communities and sort of their expectations and stuff. But we did a poll about if theoretically Rise didn't have any more updates, of course we want updates, but would you be satisfied with your purchase overall? Like, are you happy with what you got as of update 3.0? And it was interesting because the data has come in, and we had a total of 60,000 people cast votes. And I'm sure there's going to be some double up, like the same people commenting on your poll and the same people
wait a
on
minute.
mine.
Are you adding both of our polls together, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, because I was pulling mine up, but in that case, I can just slack. Okay.
Yeah. Guy just got the
I already
receipts.
got I already got the numbers, because I thought this was going to be an interesting one to talk about. So now, Rurikhan, I'm disappointed in you. Your community is more prone to be disappointed in Monster Hunter than mine.
What have you done?
Sorry, I always got to sneak in a savage moment, right? It's like a thing of the podcast. But your users have a high standard.
Maybe your community should have high.
No.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe they should have higher standards.
Yeah. So it was interesting. So the answers were, out of like 60,000 people, not quite half, but 26,700. So about 45% or so were satisfied, and were like, okay, I'm good. A lot of them decided to add in additional notes, which I've really enjoyed reading, which is like, I'm very happy. Here's what I would love to see, or I just can't wait for the future and stuff like that. Somewhere in between, like probably happy, but still, out of love for the game, like I want more.
Yeah.
It was almost the same actually. It was like 41%. It was like 23,000 people.
Nice.
And then disappointed, and this was kind of the eye opener. It's like disappointed was actually 9,800 people out of 60,000, which is a pretty significant number. Like, it's not an insignificant one. Like Rurikhan's like disappointed was 21%.
Yeah, yours,
on mine
I saw
was
yours.
13. I don't know. There's a lot of different factors. Like, I was thinking the order in which you put multiple choices generally gives you different results as well.
Yes.
Because the very first idea that you give somebody is where their brain goes to. And they're like, hey, it's like if I gave you a meal and I said, did you dislike it? You're not thinking like,
so you're saying that
it's a difference,
because
right?
I put disappointed on top that people
I
felt
think
I influenced
psychological aspect.
Yeah, it's like, did you find, was the game boring? No, it was really fun. Where you're only going to get a response out of people who really liked it. Or if you say like, did you enjoy the game? They'll be like, yeah, this was okay. Like, it's a weird psychology thing. So I wanted to get a good mixed data, so I mixed our things together. But it was interesting, and I noticed the pattern a lot from people who were disappointed where, and this is not a negative dig on anybody at all, but and people recognize it, is that World and Iceborne spoiled us in a good way. In that not only did it give us the end game that we, who come from older games that don't have like end game loops, it gave us that enjoyment. It was just fun to play. Like, there's people who put in like 4,000 or 5,000 hours. Like, it's just a fun game to play. You don't need an objective, but it also satisfied that itch for those gamers who like the micro augmentation, collecting the little pieces of actual material progression that continues on and on and on and on because of the way they designed it. Yeah, those are more generally the people who are kind of like, this is going back to some simpler roots that are just, it's too little, and it's not satisfying them, which I get. But it was interesting to see just, it's not a question of, oh, well, you're a newer player, so you don't get it. I think it's like no. I think there's a point to be had there. It's a balance, right? And they're gonna play around and find it. But it was interesting results. So like, thanks Rurikhan for doing the poll. I thought that was a great idea. Again, I was thinking about the question because the first time I read your question and disappointed was at the top. It tripped me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and all of a sudden I realized my answer was more lukewarm than it normally is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Or normally I'd be like, you kidding me? I'm in love. This is the game of my dreams.
Weird.
And I feel like it's an interesting like psychological thing too, because you'll see the disappointed thing too, and like you almost want to say yes because you do love it, so you kind of just want more. And it goes back to like, well, of course, would I love to see more things in Rise? Oh, yeah, because it's just like it's so fun already. So like, why wouldn't I? So it's kind of it does kind of like trip you up in your head almost.
Yeah, I guess that not everybody interpreted the question the same way, which is why we got so many disappointed. And I think
people
you
thought
even
it meant like no ultimate release, right? I'm like, no, that's not what I was talking
exactly.
about.
It's like,
Oh.
no, ultimate release is coming. Like I've even said it multiple times in videos, and we said it in the podcast. I don't know how people still think that there's not gonna. Like I've already said, it's 99% chance that there is an ultimate release. I'm just leaving that 1% in there just in case Capcom decides to like blow a fuse or something.
So tinfoil hat, and I would love to get your guys' thoughts on this one.
Sure.
So this is interesting. So like the Japanese Twitter, the official one for Monster Hunter Rise, started a new series of tweets that they're going to do every Wednesday, once a week, where Fukashigi, the cat in your room that like is like the spy and gives you like the inside scoop on all the villagers, they're going to share something interesting, one tidbit each week. And so I was like, oh, okay, they're just going to rehash some of the stuff in the game. It's not going to be that interesting, right? Mm-hmm. No, they come out the door swinging. So yesterday's tweet, if you haven't seen, I translated it.
They just started? Like this Wednesday was the first one? Okay.
Yeah. So the first one was a tidbit about Elder Fugen. So he has a niece. So I guess that's... I actually had to look up what niece meant because it's been so long since I've heard the term. So like one of his siblings had a child, like his brother or sister, had a daughter. So what his niece apparently is now traveling around the world as a hunter as part of like her training. Like as a hunter, you don't want to just stay in one place. You want to move around and get better. Apparently, she is so strong that she has killed an Arzuros with her bare hands.
Yo, okay.
And she talks an incredible amount. She likes to talk, and she drinks very heavily. She's a very heavy drinker. So I was like, it's like they're describing the Admiral, but with a different gender.
Oh yeah. I didn't think of that.
Like, well, I mean, I guess he's not that talkative, but it's like now people are all like, "Oh my god, we got new waifu coming for Monster Hunter Rise Ultimate. It's gonna be his niece. It's gonna be
like a new character, yeah.
Buff hunter who laughs and drinks and kicks ass." And I'm like, it was really interesting that they would talk about lore that's not mentioned in the game.
In the game, yeah.
Like they're planting little seeds. It's like when I put in my quiz one about Yomogi not being an actual resident of Kimura. Like there's these little seeds of world building. I don't know if they're just there just to get our imaginations going, or they're planting seeds for the future. But it feels
very
like,
intentional.
Yeah.
You know the image that you planted in my head. I just imagine like Fugen's niece ripping off an Arzuros arm and then beating him to death with it. Just die.
But that wouldn't be killing it with your bare hands, would it?
I mean,
oh my god! Wait a second. The bare hands.
The bare hands.
Bare. There you go. This is a layered joke, guys.
God damn.
It's like an onion. It's got layers.
God. Oh man.
Puns never end.
I would love to see more of this world in Rise. I think if Rise was your first Monster Hunter, that's awesome. It's such a like whimsical and colorful and like there's so much character. Like this is such a cool if this was like your first village, or anyone in the comments, if like Rise was your first Monster Hunter, that's so cool. I'm jealous. I think this would have been such a cool first Monster Hunter. Or like even coming from World, because like World is kind of like the last quest was Fatalis. Like we all almost died, so it's like very gray, gritty, and serious.
Yeah.
And then like Kimura is like, it's like this new colorful adventure. I love it. I would love to see more with these characters around this region. I would love that.
Yeah, people are. That's one thing I love about the tones of the game is that although there's some serious stuff going down, people are all generally smiling and laughing by default.
Yeah.
You know, like Fugen is like our jolly grandpa, like Mr. Beefcakes. You know, he's always laughing and smiling. So I love the overall tone.
All you got to think about is whenever you go to a rampage and you summon Yamogi, and she goes,
yeah, she's great.
She's the best.
I gotta hear. Oh my god, I really want to hear all of her lines of dialogue because I think I mentioned on the podcast there was a clip that I saw of I can't remember if it was in English or Japanese, I can't remember, but it was like the apex roaring. She's like, "Oh, would you shut up?"
She says that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Something like that. I was just like, that is awesome. Like they're just so funny.
But it's,
the voice ones are cool.
The English voices are just like we discussed. They're way more aggressive. Like that one time I changed my language back to English because I played through the whole thing in Japanese. Then I changed it back to English. And like first time I reload, my hunter goes, "I'm gonna punch you full of holes," and I was like, "Jesus Christ!" Okay,
damn.
Murdered my family. I'm coming for revenge or something. Yeah, it's that rubs me the wrong way as well. But the characters
I have to play with English.
Are fun.
I like to play with Monster Hunter language. I just find it really funny.
Oh man, we find it so alien because we play it in Japanese. So I'll play it with English UI but Japanese voice because otherwise I won't ever learn the terms in English and I'll constantly say something wrong. It was like the other day I made a video where I keep calling the bow coatings bins, but they're not bins, they're coatings. It's just the Japanese word for it, and it's just
right.
I still remember that one time you started talking about trap holes, and I'm just like, trap hole? What the hell's a trap?
Oh no, that's my Yu-Gi-Oh history right there coming. I found out why I did that. And it's because I was such a heavy. I even did tournaments. Like I was a heavy Yu-Gi-Oh player. So, like that explains it. There's trap hole.
Trap
for pitfall trap. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's good.
But, there's a funny joke that me and Yuna have a lot of fun. Like that's another thing. Like my experience in the game has been very different from a lot of people because I got someone physically in my house, my daughter no less, playing with me, which is like the way to play Monster Hunter is to have a person with you. And so, like, I'm getting so much out of this game. So we were like, why don't you do a review? I'm like, what's the point? I'm like,
at this point.
I was like, okay, if you get to play this game with Yuna, it's a 10 out of 10. Is that what you want to hear?
It's like, listen, Gaijin is literally the most unbiased Monster Hunter, okay?
So, like, we have a lot of fun with the stamps.
Review.
And this will never translate over to English. Maybe people won't even be interested in this little tidbit, but there's the little boy who sells rice balls who's he's got like a crush on Komitsu, the girl who sells apples, but he tries his hardest not to admit it because he's like elementary school level. And so like he's constantly like no, I'm not, I was just asking, you know, like, and like he's trying to play it off.
Yeah.
But there's a line he says in Japanese when you talk to him that is so laugh out loud funny. He goes Jigeshi. It reminds me of like the young boy from like My Neighbor Totoro. You had like the little boy who like liked the other girl, but he wouldn't admit it, and so he's like, and he tries to like act like he's like an ass or something, but really he likes her. And so Yuna used that phrase as her cart stamp. So when she carts during a hunt, she puts it up with like an annoyed face, and it says Chigeshi. Like it's just funny.
I love the stickers and like the fact that we can change our things. Such a good change.
Oh yeah. When All Mother goes down, I have a stamp that says, "Oh, Bubba tea."
Oh God.
Because you got the little balls in the sack.
You sadistic person, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, or like whenever you cut off a tail, I use the stamp of the dog trying to bite its tail and like getting all frantic. I'm like, someone lose your tail. You know.
Back in World, my carding message used to be it was either lag or a one shot. Like that's it. Those are the only two conditions in which I died.
Good.
It's either lag
Yeah.
or one shot.
Mine in 4 Ultimate was I blame Capcom. So similar energy.
I blame Capcom.
And then in I don't think either I changed it in 4U or something. I forgot which one. It was a So Long Gay Bowser when I would die.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
So
Okay, here's a question. I was just thinking about it. We've never actually asked on this podcast before because we always ask about weapons and monsters, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we never talk about the buddies. And so now I'm kind of curious. We both love Palamutes and Palicos, right? And there's times and places for each different one. But if there is one buddy that you've used the longest in the game, one, is it a dog or is it a cat? And what's their name? And what makes them special?
Oh, okay.
Who is the one buddy that you've used the most in Monster Hunter Rise?
Definitely my Palamute, just because like
Palamute, okay.
they're our Uber system. I'll elaborate on I will say that Palicos can do so much. Like in comparison, like Palicos are so good. I hadn't like scratched the surface of like how strong they were, but they're so good. And in comparison, the dog kind of seems like inadequate. Like yeah, it can get you around, but the Palicos can do so much. But just by usage, my Palamute is the most used, and its name is Pochita, which is the name of a dog character from a manga soon to be anime called Chainsaw Man. I don't know if anyone or if anyone in the comments knows it, or if you guys know it.
Chainsaw Man.
I have no
Chainsaw
idea.
Man. It's very all I'll say is that it's interesting, but there's a character which is a dog. It's also a devil. But it's a dog. It's a devil in the shape of a dog. And its name is Pochita, and it's so cute, and it's just a cute ass character. So I was like, okay, I gotta name my dog Pochita when Rise comes out. And then my second most is just my Palico, which is always named Cyrus after my actual cat, which has been named Cyrus since 4 Ultimate.
Is that like a CY or an SI? Like how do you spell
CY.
Cyrus?
CYRUS.
That's not from Mortal Kombat, is it?
It
Was
was
there a character called Cyrus?
I think there was. Cyrus was given to me with that name, and I don't know. I just thought it would be weird to change his name. Like, what if the owner was like, "Hey, how's Cyrus is doing?" And be like, "Oh no, I changed his name to like Bernie or something." I don't know.
Cyrus is
I'll
gone.
leave the name.
Bernie is in.
Cyrus is dead. So I gotta ask him like why he named him Cyrus, but I kept the name.
That's awesome. How about you, Rurikhan?
I mean, you already know the answer to this. It's Kayamba, my Palico. I have a Palico
sure.
called Kayamba, and he's a bomber,
OG.
and he bombs
Nice.
everything. He's a
Good,
beast.
good.
He's got. Listen, he has saved me so many times with the flash Bombay that it is actually insane. Like he's flashed stuff out of the sky, flashed stuff right before it hit me that would kill me. Like his flash is amazing. And sometimes he just chooses violence. And what I mean by this is like he'll flash a monster, and then the monster's like, Flash doesn't know what to do, so he'll run up to the monster, put a mine in the ground right in front of him, and then pulls out a Giga Barrel Bombay, and then just throws himself at him, just like, let's go.
That's so good.
It's amazing. I love him. He's the best.
Kayama's an OG for sure.
It'll break your heart to know that as me and Yuna were doing our speed runs of All Mother, we also optimize what cats we're going to bring with us. And our condition that we both agreed on is that we will not bring a cat that has the Flash Bombay because they're too good at it, and it will knock All Mother out of certain moves. And we've had it where like you get like that move like where you get like the cat will constantly flinch and get her out. Like the cat's too good. So we're like, you're messing up our rhythm here. Like our script is off. So like stop it.
I believe that. Yeah, the cats are crazy.
A lot of times they'll flinch monsters away from me. Like Kayamba will be just like too aggro and he'll flinch something away, and I'm like, damn it, no, I can't burst. Stop.
Yeah. I was hunting with a. Oh, you go first.
I'll go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was hunting with a friend and I was stunned and like about to get hit and probably killed. Like I could have survived, and then like I think it was Magnum Hollow, and then he jumps and he doesn't reach me. And I'm like, what? And then my friend's cat has him tethered with a wire bug.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had never seen that before. So like my first visual of this was being saved by it. And I was like, what is that? And he's like, my friend Catcher was like, yeah, you've never seen that? I'm like, no, that's so cool. And yeah, he just like freaking pulled like the freaking flagship monster back.
Did you?
And like, yeah, it's awesome.
That was actually the first Palico that I had was a Trapper. One of the ones that I used the most was a Trapper with that. And the first time I saw that, I was like, dude, this is the best thing ever. Because he's actually
so
like,
cool.
he's sitting on something and he's just like, winnie, just like
so
reeling
good.
him back. It's so good.
It's so good.
The animation detail is just like amazing.
It's so creative, and like just the visual of like Magnamalo like about to get me and like just being an inch short.
Back.
Yeah, it was like something out of a freaking anime or something. It was awesome.
Well, that is awesome. I was gonna say for me, it's a little hard because I mean I have my starter Palico who I don't use anymore, so I feel really bad. But it's usually a cat called Isun, and that's a reference to Okami, the little Isun.
Oh, right, yeah.
The dog's head, yeah.
I hope we get a
lately
collab.
lately I've been using a pair of cats called Rage and Fury. It's so middle schoolish, I know, like
Rage and
at this level. Rage and Fury, because they're two fighter cats that are they're awesome. So I've got them, and then Yuna's really funny because she uses cats as well for the All Mother, but for most hunts, she's really enjoyed bringing dogs. Just because she likes the armor on the dogs a little bit more. So
nice.
she's such a huge fan of Narwa and Ibushi that she has her first dog was Zora, and it looks like Zora Magdaros. It's all color themed because was one of her favorite monsters. She's got Xenojiva, which is totally themed, color and everything to Xenojiva, her other favorite monster. And then she's always grouped with either Ibushi or Narwa, which are like the dogs, always layered out with that armor.
Nice.
And they're like her little puppers. So it's like her little like plush collections. Like her favorite monsters are always with her and doing stuff. Yeah. And she enjoys the dogs doing the bite thing where like they'll just like comically latch on to like the top of the head of a monster. Just
it's so good.
Then I showed her that clip that went viral, that like funny meme video of like, oh my god, look, it's a snake, and the dog comes up to it and goes,
oh yeah,
whips the snake into a field, and I think she looped that like 100 times, laughing her butt off. It was so funny.
What's I don't think I've heard too many people say that Zora is a favorite. That's pretty cool.
I know she's one of the she really loved Zora Magdaros, and me and her had so much fun. We did that hunt over, I think, probably 100 times. Like that's how many times we did it. And she was constantly doing it with random people, helping them out. We were like dancing on the nose together and taking videos just and chilling stuff. And she just loves the monster. And it was her first Monster Hunter plush was a Zora Magdaros. Nice. A small little cute plush. But see, she's just a huge fan.
That proves my point that I kept saying during World, where people would be like, oh, Zora sucks and whatever. And I'd be like, Zora doesn't suck. If Zora was more challenging and you would actually only played Zora with other players, it would be way better. What sucks about Zora is a lot of people just do it solo. That's why it sucks, because they just go in there and they're fire cannons for like half an hour and boom, that's the encounter, right? But if there was actually reasons for you to go back on top of Zora, because like once you get to the cannon phase, there's no reason to go back in there unless you feel like going there. But it's like if there was a reason for you to have like, no, you need to have players in the cannons firing. You need to have one or two players actually jump back and do different things. Like I think a lot of people don't even know that you can go down and hit him in the belly. I bet you that a lot of people don't even know about the belly hits. They're like, belly, you can hit Zora in the belly. Yeah, you can break his hands. You can do all kinds of different things. People don't even know about it because there's no reason to do it. You can just like sit on the cannons.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a few reasons. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to, well, my thing is long, so you go first.
I was going to say, one of the things that she likes is it was her first Monster Hunter, so it was her first large-scale battle, and I think we all kind of, in general, it's memorable when we have a large-scale thing like Jen Moran or Dalamadur, like we're just like, the scale of it is entertaining. It's a spectacle. Yes. She loved the theme song to death, And she found the
for
monster
sure.
absolutely. She says she finds Zora absolutely adorable. She says that he's a cute monster.
Yeah, he's a turtle.
He's not the one actually attacking you, which is kind of makes him even cuter. It's you guys are the bad guys trying to stop him. She's like, he just wants to go forward to where he wants to go. Like, come on, man.
If you think
and she
about
loves
it,
the fact that you don't actually kill him. He's like one of the monsters that you don't kill. And she likes that.
If you think about it, Zora Magdaros just wants to give us more DLC. He's just going to form the guiding lands. Like, let him go. Just let him go.
True. He's just trying to rest in peace. Actually, my next thing is a perfect segue. I feel like a lot of the I'm like notorious for just enjoying a lot of the big fights. I like a lot of them. I feel like they get like a lot of like I get it. Like they're not the most interesting, but I have like such good associations, like good memories with a lot of them. So like yeah, even having good times with Zora with friends as well. Or well, also I would just eat during Zora quest sometimes. But like I was gonna ask you guys like what big fight, if ever, would you like to see come back? And for me, I would love to fight Dalamadur with wire bugs. Like I feel like that would be sick. Just like zipping around and like climbing and stuff. But honestly, like so many of the big fights would be cool with wire bugs.
I'm all about the Ran Moran, baby. All about that.
We're in the same boat. It's the Morans. We love them.
Literally in the same boat.
Hell yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
Fun.
What is with all the puns today? Jeez.
Perfect.
That was a good one.
We gotta meet the quota. Yeah.
People think I do this on purpose. I don't. Some of them, yes, but most of them, nah, man, it's accidental.
We got to meet the pun quota. No, I love the Morans. So memorable. Just like the sand ship. We need more fights in like a boat of some kind.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just think it's epic. Like the Gormagala on a boat for you. Like people forget about that. Awesome. I'm like, that has stuck with me like forever. Like that was one of the coolest things like that I ever did.
Like oh my god, we're gonna fight him here?
Yeah,
and he's flying around, and it's. I think it's the I use the word spectacle, but it's just atmospheric. It's
oh yeah, it's like raining. It's dark.
It's super memorable.
To me,
I also love Gogma is another one of my favorites. When that thing took off and starts flying in the final phase, you're like, oh shit! And everyone like run out of the area because it's like
so good.
To me, the boat fights also remind me of Lost Planet 2. I don't know if you guys ever played Lost Planet 2. It's kind of like Lost Planet 2 was almost but 2 specifically was almost like Monster Hunter if it was a third-person shooter, because you're also just fighting big monsters and you're doing it in co-op with 3 other people. And there are some fights in that game where you're like on either a train or some other like a sand ship or something like that. And you also have mechanics like you'll need to have a player go and pick up like shells to put into a gun. And then there's another player like manning the gun and aiming it and whatnot and firing. So that was really cool. And at the same time, there's still stuff happening on the ship and other things that you got to fight off. I thought that was amazing, and like the Duran Ran fight gives me a lot of those vibes, which is why I like it so much.
Oh hell yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we didn't get a large like spectacle hunt in Rise that I can think of. I think the closest we got was Rampages are just absolute mayhem, and then you later find out that like it's really hard to fail them. It's more of just like the fun. It's a TPS game, and you like it or love it, but. I think the closest they got was Narwa, because Narwa had like the interactive environment. Oh, okay, everybody get on the cannons, get down. Okay, you fire the Dragonier. You had the big like cannon that you can actually kill other players with, which I find hilarious.
Yeah, it is pretty funny.
I've never killed anyone with it. I've tried hard.
Oh, really?
I can't.
I've seen it happen. I haven't dived to it or killed someone, but I have seen it happen, which I think is really funny. Yeah.
Me and Yuna quite enjoy doing the sleep bombing with it. So like when she uses bow against Narwa a lot, and then she'll just naturally, once it becomes later in the phase, she'll just sleep it, like just boom, and then I know exactly. I'll run to the cannon, fire it off center, because she can't figure out the centering for it, where the little ball hits it, then it takes 400 damage, so like double damage from the little ball, and then you can only get 4,000, but if you nail it right, you get like the 8,000. It's really fun.
That thing, I don't even know the proper name, but it never gets old.
The
Like,
splitting wyvern shot. How can you not know the name of one of the best things in the game? Splitting wyvern
cool.
shot.
It never gets old. Like,
if it's an explosion, I probably know all about it.
Nice. nice. Another quick question before you guys continue, and I got it. If I'm a guest on here, I gotta ask, because this is another thing that I'm notorious for. Or would you guys like to see underwater combat again?
Yes.
Same here.
Immediate yes. And you know what? I'm actually gonna go out on a whim, and I was just talking about this last night to Yuna. Actually, I said we were theorizing of what Monster Hunter 6 is gonna be, right? Like the next gen title, right? Which is gonna take time to make. And I said, look, they can't possibly go any more vertical. They would have to do freaking Mario Galaxy at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like Rise has just conquered the verticality. There's no marketing hook. There's no selling point there. They can't make it so that you move around fast because the wire bugs already nailed that. Like you can't get better than that. I was like, what's the one thing that they can do that will be atmospheric, benefit the most from ray tracing or next gen technology? And would allow them to bring back much older monsters and be fresh. And I'm like, imagine if they found a way, like, think about it. They figured out how to make jumping and climbing fun with the wire bug.
Yes.
Right? Which in generally is not that fun of an exercise, but just moving around is fun. What if they found a way to do underwater combat in a way that feels non-restrictive?
Like, for sure.
I'm like,
totally feel
dude, I was like, that's got to be where they can go for the next big Monster Hunter, and they should, because there's something about like when you were down in the water fighting like Laggy or Gobble or whatever, and like it was muddy waters or clear waters. It was atmospheric as heck, and I think I want it to come back. Plus, I was a Lancer, so like fighting underwater was really easy.
Yeah.
You know, like
you get really different answers depending on who you ask.
I was like, if you say you didn't like underwater combat, okay, so you didn't play Lance, is like what I always joke and say.
Yeah.
But
the
I would
answer
love
varies
to see it
so
back.
much.
It's
awesome. Yeah.
It's one of those things. I probably don't want underwater combat to come back because look, underwater combat. Damn it! There's a mosquito here. It's annoying the crap out of me. It bit me twice already. Like seriously, you see
that's
red
two
here?
cards, man. One more and you're out, man.
He bit me like right here, and now it's all red. It's annoying. Yeah, I'm very allergic to this. But as I was saying, it's like I think that I've only seen like one game do underwater combat like kind of okay, which was Guild Wars 2. I guess probably Subnautica's all right because that's all about being underwater, but I never played Subnautica. But it's like very few games ever get underwater combat. It just feels like a worse version of when you're outside of the water, and it never feels good. So
it's the holy grail, though, if they can figure it out.
If they manage to perfectly nail it, okay, fine. But it's like, I'm not going to keep my hopes up because it's like I've been disappointed too many times when it comes to underwater combat.
Oh, for sure. That's totally
the way
valid.
I see it. No, I was going to say, like, the way I see it, like, they've got two choices for big differences. One is going back to underwater, but making it fun. And two would be the obvious choice, which is people saying, like, what if they make it like truly like seamless? Like you can go from the ancient forest to like the sandy plain. Like the whole world is like one connected. Like not open. I guess open world would be the right thing, but like more like open. You know, like and then like you would just walk to different villages and take on different quests, and you can run into other hunters and like if they went open world with it or something.
Yeah.
You're asking for a lot.
That would be so cool.
I'm not asking. I'm just talking about what the theories are.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That would be so, like, imagine you're just like, you're riding around on your whatever, and you see like two people and they're like getting their ass kicked, and you're like, let me help. Oh, that'd be sick. But no, like, I don't know.
That could be Dragon's Dogma 2 that we're talking about right now. So.
Hey.
True. I got to try that game still.
You haven't tried out Dragon's Dogma?
I have not, no. But I see like so much good PR for it, especially like from Cups. Like he's like, yo, you gotta play this game.
Yeah,
I'll try it soon. I'll definitely try it soon.
Yeah. I'm just warning you, it's like Monster Hunter. Like you'll probably, if it hooks you, because it's another wonky game that's a little weird, and non-intuitive at first, but if it hooks you, like goodbye for the next 200 hours. Like,
oh yeah,
that's
okay.
all you're that's all you're playing.
Hell yeah.
It's
I'll definitely
You'd
try.
be like,
very good.
you're like, I beat the game, and they'd be like, for the 12th time. You know.
Word. No,
But you
yeah,
get- You can't start it now though because we're about to get stories too. Though.
Stories, man.
Yes, I'll wait for the right time for sure.
Are you excited about stories?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. Like, I know it's not like everyone's cup of tea. I don't think you have to get it just because it has monster in the title. I just think it's like, I don't even like it because it like obviously it's cool to like have one of your favorite monsters as your partner, of course. But I think it's just like a fun formula on its own. And the fact that like I get to like ride around on a Rathalos or like a Lagiacrus is just like a bonus, honestly. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be pretty fun. And the demo is like super soon.
Yeah, demo is this Friday.
Tomorrow,
Did you play the original?
I did play the first. I didn't beat it, but I played like a decent amount of it. So I'm hoping to like actually beat this one and partake in like the PvP and like actually do things, which I hear is like fun. So
Oh yeah.
honestly, I feel like if it gets to that point, we might see like more stories playing than Rise. Like if people like that crew of people who are unsatisfied with Rise, they might be like, you know what, I'm gonna play stories too. Or
Man, I was gonna say, if you want content drip like stories, because I played the crap out of that game. So
I saw it, yeah.
So like when you want to talk about like an endless drop of customization, oh my god! Because you have the little bingo card for the DNA, and you want to get like
I never
the
got
monsters
to like, try
all.
that.
Yeah, the monsters all have special skills or abilities in very specific spots. So like I'm like, okay, I'm hunting for a dragon power up in the middle slot. You know, and like I would like, and you'd like start throwing away eggs, like nope. It was like a little gotcha thing, right?
Yeah.
And then like you make like the perfect monster, and I still remember like one of the most memorable things was Apex Gaming. He was also very much into it, and we did a Twitch stream of me versus Apex where he had his he took the DNA
He had like a
move
fart Devil
of-
Joe.
Yeah, he took the Kangalala DNA and he melded it with his Evil Joe, and it would do a fart
I
breath,
remember that. Yeah.
and it would like stop you from using items. It was unbelievably cool. And
Yeah,
it's
there's like a whole meta there.
I've
The game is endless, and the PvP is really fun. So like,
Yeah.
I hope people stream it so that people can see it, because it's so much more charming and so much more. It's just like a nice cup of hot chocolate on a winter day.
Yeah.
It's just, there's something cozy about that game, right? Like just the overall
sure.
feel.
Yeah.
And but like you said, like the mechanics are so clean and they're so well designed that it's just a fun game on its own. It kind of reminds me of a game like Dragon Quest Monsters or something. Like it's a formula that is just pristine.
Yes.
And they've got it down. So like, I'm beyond hyped for it. It's gonna be great.
Hell yeah.
I never.
What were we gonna say?
Who do you want to be your monstie, or who was your main monstie back in the first one? Either or.
I had one of my like main partners was just like I really, and it's so funny because I'm a Brachy hater, but Brachy as a monstie was fine. I would be fine never seeing Brachy again in a monster.
Why do you hate Brachy?
Wow.
Yeah,
This is a good subject. I want to know.
Yeah.
I think his fight is doo doo. I'm not a fan of it. Like I I will explain. And I talk about this on stream all the time. His theme is sick. He's like a cool looking monster. I just like have not enjoyed his fight like from introduction to like till now. I did enjoy Raging Brachy and Iceborne, which was a surprise to me. But I hate like his little boxer run. I hate how much he like side steps around you.
Yeah.
I'm biased because I also suck at him. But I don't care. I hate him.
I still say, and I've talked about it on the podcast, he's the one who got me into using more than one weapon. Because I love his 3 ultimate implementation. It's my favorite by far because the hunters were really limited in what they could do. So his quick little pivots, which he did all the time back then, would just screw you up so hard.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And I was using Lance, and that just ate through all your stamina whenever he punched you.
It was terrible with Lance, yeah.
Doing the double Brachy G2 quest as a solo hunter, because there's no one around me playing the game.
Yeah.
Was just too. I couldn't do it. So that's got me into like Sword and Shield, and then Hunting Horn, and then it was the rest is history. But I was gonna say Bracky feels very different depending on the game, because I'm someone who loves Bracky, and like I think he's never been quite like he was back in 3 Ultimate. Like that was
he's definitely gotten better. Yeah.
Oh, I think he's gotten worse.
You think so?
I hate the new Bracky. Like Iceborne, I didn't enjoy him at all. I love Raging, but
I hated him.
I don't like this. He's either spammy, or the whole fact of like him being able to maneuver around you, like the pivoting, the boxing, is pretty much gone, because the hunters just have much more mobility, in both either in Iceborne or whatever. Like it just seems like they never really advanced his concept. He was much more threatening and agile in 3, and so like I'm the opposite. I hate his new interpretations, but I love his old one.
I'll tell you what, I hate the Raging one in GU. I hate that one. That one is terrible. I can't stand it.
That was not a very original hunt. So like Iceborne.
No. It was just a really big Bracky that would just like slowly
blow up,
and then just like boom.
Yeah.
Get zoomies, right?
Yeah. No, like I don't think he's terrible. That's what like I call myself a Bracky hater, because he's not that bad. But I don't know.
It means that we don't love him as much as we love the others. That's what we're.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I used to be a Kieran hater as well, but my like the correlation to like how much I hate Kieran to like me getting better with Greatsword, like you could see it shift. Like the better I got with Greatsword, I was like, oh yeah, maybe Kieran's not so bad. But it's really because I can just like crap on him.
Now, Rurikhan, I know who you're looking forward to having as a monster.
Basil, baby. I mean, I'm assuming there's no Volstrax, right? They haven't said Volstrax yet.
Not that we know of.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get it, and I think it'll be hype.
If we get Volstrax, it might actually be like I said, like Crimson Glow Volstrax has gotten my Volstrax love like going up, and maybe even above Basil.
Good.
So it's like, you know, those.
Did you see Velkhana? It was in the last commercial here in Japan.
Yeah, it was like a secret. I didn't even see that until I think you retweeted it or something, or you like tweeted it. Yeah, like out of nowhere.
Yeah, the 30-second commercials they always use to tease smaller little reveals. They always do this, and with every Monster Hunter game, even like Generations, I think did the same thing. It's like, oh, they're returning. Oh wow, I never saw that before. You know,
nice.
Cool. But
it's gonna be fun.
In regards to stories, I've never really played too much when it came out on the 3DS. I think I played like 2 hours or something because I did a stream just to show people what it was like. But recently I've also started playing it on my phone just to kind of like get reacquainted with the combat system. It's like I can't stand playing it on the phone because touch controls, I can't stand touch controls. I wish that game supported controller, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
But that game is still so friggin' good. It's still so good. It feels so good, just like, oh yeah, let's go. And when you time the attack and it happens to be the same attack as your monster, and it's the attack that is going to trounce the other one. And one of the things that I noticed, even just the way that they do the animations when there's the head-to-heads, it just feels good. There's something about it. It's super simple. It's just like, here's this thing right in the middle of the screen, and on this side there's one monster. On this, it's like a tug of war, and
there's
like
just Dragon Ball.
Yeah, there's just something visceral about the tug of war of your monster just like pushing through and just like ramming the other one.
It's really good.
Feel good game.
Yeah, there's not even like a proper animation in that moment. It's just like the fact that no, you're pushing the other monster away. Just push him away. You're winning. It feels good.
And there's something also about the first Monster Hunter stories, and something I'm sure is going to be the same for stories too, which I don't think gets enough attention, is not only is it a really good introduction to Monster Hunter for people who don't play the main series games, but it also allows you to utilize your knowledge of the monsters. Like, I was really surprised at how well it rewards you for knowing the monsters. Like, when you first encounter a monster, you're like, okay, are they probably going to tend to use a power-based attack, technique, or speed? But you already know the monster because you are a fan of the series. You can already preempt, like, okay, I know Narga is going to be like speed and technique. Like, it's not using power moves, and like you can like plan around it, and then you can guess, and then you're like, okay, I know my guy is going to be using this or that. I'm going to link it, and then when you get it, it feels so good. You're like, yeah, I know you.
I'll tell you what, I've so far predicted like the main attack type, because all of them have, at least at the start, all of them seem to have the pattern of doing like 2 types of attacks and then a third one that's going to be different to throw you off. Usually the one that beats the attack that would beat their attack, right? That's usually the way it goes. And so far I've predicted the main attacks of everything that I fought. So it's like Velocidrome. Well, this one's easy. Speed. It's like, what was the other one? Aptonoth. Okay, he's probably going to go for power because he's not a very smart monster. He's not going to do much more than that. Yep, his main thing is power. Yankutku, I was like, that's going to be technique 100%. And yep, his main thing is technique. It's like, yeah, I have been predicting every single one of them. I got
what I think the game does
Narga.
that's so elegant.
Go.
Oh, sorry. No, so what they do so elegantly, though, and this is the big difference for me from a game like Pokemon that feels much more static, to me at least, is the monsters do their own moves. They both the opponent and your monster, in general, they fight how they want to fight. Sometimes they do what you want them to do. Sometimes they do what they want to do. Like they are not you. You're not choosing all their moves. You can spend points to do that, but in general, they'll just do their thing. So there's certain points where you want to rely on them and be like, okay, come on, dude. I know you know what's going on, and so you'll
like
do a move.
Yeah, it's like a believe in your Pokemon, like believe in your Monstie kind of moment. The heart of the cards.
And when they nail it, you're like, damn, you're good. And if it doesn't feel like I'm doing it, it feels like it really is a companion. And I think that's just...
Yeah, I dig that. That's true.
And it's like, as someone that has played Pokemon games, I actually played... Probably a lot of people won't believe this, but I actually finished Pokemon Shield, okay? So when I speak about Monster Hunter stories being better, I speak from a position of authority, god damn it.
I feel like people would agree with you. I feel like no one hates Pokemon games more than like Pokemon fans. Like they like crap on their own game like the most.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I'll say my credentials are I've beaten Pokemon Black, and I was probably one of the only ones in the world who actually stood there and got 9,999 reports on the Street Pass report.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
it was like a Street Pass thing. Because I'm in Tokyo, so I noticed at its height on Shinjuku Station, on the platform, it would Street Pass with people passing in the train. And I would get like 20 hits every time the train, which is every 2 minutes. And so I would do, after work, I would just sit on the train platform for like 3 hours and just do it. Because I thought there was going to be like a special thing that you get for... But there wasn't. And that really but I did the
talk
Black.
about it today.
Sun and Moon was awesome. I adored that game, and me and Yuna played that together. And then Sword and Shield we played through. So I've got a little bit of Pokemon, and I love the Pokemon's. Was it Rumble in English? The little like robot toys, and they hit each other.
Oh yeah.
I really like that game. So. You're right. Pokemon fans are their biggest haters of Pokemon.
Yeah, they really are. Sometimes we can be too, Monster Hunter fans.
It's just I just wish that, and this is like, because whenever I criticize a game or whatever, I do it from a position that like I just want all games to be good. I want all games to be better ultimately. And one of the things that disappointed me about Shield is that, look, I played like, which one was it? Omega Ruby or whatever. And I've played Pokemon X. It's probably another thing people don't know. I've played Pokemon games in the past, okay? It's like, I've played Y. I think it was an X. It was Y. I played Y and I played Omega Ruby. And then I played Shield. And I'm like, dude, these animations are literally the same as the first game that I've ever played. Like, can you improve on something? You know? And then,
that's something that... Oh, you can fit.
And then it's like when you get to something like stories and you actually see your character attack alongside the Monstie, I just find that to be way cooler than just like, oh no, just you do all the work, okay? Like you're my slave basically, and I put you in this ball whenever I don't need you. Now go do the work. It's weird.
Yeah. No, for sure. I was pretty much going to say the same thing. I feel like one of the best selling points for Stories 1 was just people on Twitter posting the kinship attacks.
Yeah.
Like, that's what caught my attention. Like, you got these crazy, like, super, like, epic, like fighting game finisher. Huh? Yeah, like, they're so cool. And, like, I feel like that alone, I think it was, like, Seth. You guys all know Seth Oren.
Yeah.
Like, he was posting all of them. And I'm just like, yo, this looks pretty fire. I'm going to check this out. Like, I think that, like, I was already interested. But, like, it was, like, all the Twitter clips that, like, sold me on it. So,
yeah. It was, and there's a, just like the one that I did that I've seen recently was the Aptonoth one, because I've been playing the starting. The Aptonoth attack is he just slips on a banana peel, on a banana peel, and then falls on top of the other monster, and then falls over to the side immediately after the attack. Yeah. He's down for a turn.
I like the young cuckoo one. He's eating, then your hunter smacks him in the back of the head and goes, and barfs it up as fireballs.
The conches. Yeah. They're either really funny or like insanely epic, like the whole landscape has been destroyed kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
it's really cool. No, I think that game is gonna do good.
It looks like an anime. It looks so good.
That art style, dude. That art style is just so good. I know that a lot of people are like, oh, that art's not for me. It's a kid's game. It's whatever. It's like, okay, I think it
really fits.
But I love it. I love that art style. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I feel like World was obviously a beautiful game for sure. But I feel like Monster Hunter benefits a lot from a very stylized look. You could have like really, really nice looking graphics for sure, but I feel like, just the nature of the game, it's not a super serious game to begin with. So I feel like going for very kind of stylized looks, doesn't have to be like super cartoony, but I feel like stuff like Rise fits it really well, and stuff like Stories fits it really well. Like stylized, kind of like you're going for a specific kind of look, you're not like downgrading because of the graphics. Like, I feel like Stories fits it very nicely, in my opinion.
Yeah, it lets them have the exaggerated style that they're going for in a Monster Hunter game, which just feels good. Those really vibrant colors, like you look at even just the Velocidrome, and it's like, damn, that friggin' blue is almost blinding, the blue on the Velocidrome. Yeah. Then you look at a Velocidrome, one of the old games, the thing is barely blue. Look at him, poor guy, has barely any color.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I feel like Stories is going to do well.
I don't know. I just hope that people at least give it a shot, because there's not really a whole lot to lose with the demo, right? Because even if you don't like it, just whatever, demo is free. And if you do like it, it's not even like you wasted your time, because your progression carries over into the final game. So it's pretty much no brainer.
The number one thing I see of people who are not interested is I don't get into turn-based games, which is a valid point.
Yeah.
But I do say that you should try out the demo, because like I was saying, you don't control half of the party. Like, your monster is a living, breathing thing. It does its own thing, and you've got to plan for that. Yes. And so it feels more interactive to me than a turn-based game, and because of that. So who knows? Maybe it'll overcome that if that's your thing. So
I always wonder if there's people out there who will be a fan of Stories but not play the main games. Like, I wonder if there's any Stories fans only out there, and they're like, what?
That was my daughter for a long time, right? She played all of the entire Stories, but she never thought to even give a shot to the mainline games, even though she had seen them.
Yeah, I respect it. Like, this is my cup of tea right here.
Oh yeah. And it's just another, I loved how Stories 1 allowed certain monsters to shine. Like, everybody was using Red Kezu. Red Kezu came at the perfect time early in the game. It was really powerful. And it's like, that's a monster most people would gloss over, but you got some time with it, and you generally got to like it.
You like befriend it,
my boy. And then you get like late in the game, and then Great Jaggy pops up. You're like, what the hell is he doing in the late game? And you realize they tweaked him to be like really strong, and you're like, whoa.
Hell yeah.
Kind of like Great Izuchi when he's being wyvern ride, and he's just like a friggin' beast.
Oh yeah, man.
It's like that's what I was telling you. And I was like, I can't wait for the PC version to come out, because I see what the modders are doing to like World. I was like, man, one of these days we're gonna get an all mother where Izuchi's gonna jump on down, and we're gonna be able to smack her around with Izuchi. That'd be so sweet.
Oh, for sure. That's definitely gonna happen. We're gonna see some crazy things where like Fugen jumps down and does his like rampage attack. Like, who knows what they'll do?
Just summon friggin' Yamogi from up there and just like shooting the monster.
Yeah.
Just stays up there shooting the whole time.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
They've done some crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna go and do what I normally do and break into a completely unrelated, totally crazy. Like, where did that come from? So I was gonna ask if one of the things I love about your videos, Herny, is your skits. Your skits are amazing.
Thank you.
I always share everybody your Rajang video, not only because it's insightful, but the skit at the beginning is hilarious. But I was gonna ask, is there any? Where did the idea or the inspiration come from of doing, like, you have the split personality? You got like the other version of yourself who talks shit to you. And I really enjoy that.
So,
I was kind of curious if you had if there was a story behind it where you came up with that idea.
Sure, yeah. I'm glad you enjoy that, because that is the funnest part for me as well. So like as I've been going through YouTube, and like I've been on like this kind of like mini hiatus like recently, and I'm like I've been kind of brainstorming. I was gonna say storm braining.
Yeah.
That's not right. And yeah, like one thing that I noticed about my content in the beginning, and honestly, and hopefully this is not like a bash to anyone, but maybe you guys can agree, like Monster Hunter was like very serious in like the earlier YouTube days. We were talking the facts and the gear numbers. And like, yeah, numbers, and like we barely cracked jokes, like all of us. So I was like, man, like, you know, like, and sometimes people would like message me or something like shyly, like, hello, like, can I ask you this, like, or can I play with you? And like I'm not this like quiet like, not even like Kanta's like that. Like Kanta's like the silent hunter, but not even there like that. Like I'm not as serious as people think I am, like, at all. So I was like, well, how can I kind of like get my personality out there and simultaneously like try and like incorporate this kind of like new spin on it. And then I started doing like these little skit ideas, just like inspired by like other YouTube things like Vine, or even now TikTok. Like a lot of people do skits. And then the veteran hunter thing was just a joke, because I do genuinely find it funny when people cite their hours. If you're just proud, that's fine. But like people like unironically would cite their hours to like validate their arguments, especially like in Facebook like Monster Hunter groups, like to put other people down. Like that's, I'm like, really? So my veteran hunter persona is a joke that like I'm a veteran hunter, but I have 3,000 hours in every game, including stories. And I just say it all the time. And yeah, it's just like this persona that was just like this like one time, maybe 2-time joke. But it's really funny because he gains the nickname like Poncho Herny, because I was like, well, what do I have in my room that like would make me look like a hunter? So I had this like poncho from Ecuador, and I'm like, okay, and I just put that on. So it's so funny that like this like throwaway joke has become this like reoccurring character and thing for me. And now I got this really amazing artwork done by my friend Visir96, shoutouts. But yeah, like it all came from just like me trying to just try something different. And I think like one thing that I think I always say, and I'll share it in this podcast, like if you're like in the Monster Hunter community and you're trying to break into the scene or anything on YouTube, just like I definitely started, and like if we really want to think of it monetarily, sure, I started to do better when I stopped trying to be the next Arix or the next Gaijin, or stopped trying to be the cool silent type like Kanta, and just did whatever like silly idea I got. And I started to do this thing where I'm like, even if I thought it was a dumb idea, do it anyway, especially if you think it's a dumb idea.
That's such a good mentality though.
Yeah. Yeah, like the skit at the beginning of the Rajang video, I was like almost not gonna do that because I'm like, this is ridiculous. But I'm like, you know what? Like whatever. Like why not? You know? And yeah, it was just like for fun. And I'm so glad that you enjoy it and like people have enjoyed it in general, because like it's the best when like you don't compromise with your idea and you go for it and like it gets like any good feedback at all. Like that's awesome. Yeah. That's the best.
But that is the sweet nuggets of your videos that I enjoy the most. And not to say that the other parts aren't awesome, but it's just, yeah, it's creativity is best when you just let it run. And
for sure,
I agree with you as well. Like finding maybe not necessarily forcing yourself to have your own spin, but there's in general we're all very unique individuals, and I think finding like there's generally like a different approach. Like I don't think I've ever even talked about it, but my concept of my videos was sort of like the Reading Rainbow, like Mr. Rogers type of thing, where it's like, how do I take something that is complicated and I distill it in a way and an order in which it kind of sounds simple? Like, oh, okay, I can do that. Like, and that was my theme, and that's
nice.
what I always try to do.
That.
Is like, and then I think it's really cool to like everyone has these ideas, and it's so good. Ideas that you don't execute on is just a waste, because even the failures are great and they lead to really funny stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And the successes, of course, are great as well. So I love the mentality of just, it doesn't have to be good, it just has to be. It just has to exist, Yeah.
It's
and,
like,
and when you're having fun, the viewer will feel it as well. Like, it's just like,
definitely. Yeah.
And even if they don't, you're making videos more for yourself anyways. It's just kind of like fun. To mess around.
Definitely.
My latest brilliant idea was just going like, hey man, I really want to do a Monster Hunter podcast. I'm going to reach out to Gaijin and see if he wants to do the first episode with me.
Nice. And look at you guys now. 30 big ones. Hell yeah.
Who would have guessed? Look at us now.
It's a Paul Rudd meme. Not me.
Yeah. Not me.
That's so good. Yeah. I think that's and the like, maybe a cool like theme of this whole episode could just be like, the community has come so far. Yeah. Like, we all used to be kind of like, I don't even know, like, people like, we didn't like all talk to each other again, like very serious, almost kind of like shut in, at least for me, because like with YouTube it's kind of tough with YouTube to talk to other people, because it's like YouTube is like very solitary, at least for me. Twitch is like, you hit people up, like you get rated, you hop in someone's chat. It's like much more communal. When I was like doing YouTube only, I was like, where is everybody? Then I made a Twitter, and then we know the story from there, because everybody's on Twitter. But I think one thing that has definitely helped the Monster community grow is just more personalities, and just like more flavor being added. Because like, let's say somebody else comes along, and they're also doing tutorials. And you've been doing tutorials forever. Like, now, hopefully you get inspired to like, well, let me change it up. Not even in the sense of like, oh, competition, but just like, well, at least for me, like my mentality, and this is kind of like my life mentality, but it's so like, I applied it to YouTube, and it's like, well, what can I contribute? Like, what can my talents contribute? I'm paraphrasing from like a Jim Carrey speech. You guys probably know the one, but it's just like, well, what can your talents provide that people need or even want to see? And if you can find that like sweet spot, whether it's for YouTube or for streaming content in general, art, music, like if you can find what you are already enjoy doing and are good at, probably, and then you can find like just a nice crew of people who enjoy seeing you do that thing, you're set. And like, that's really all it is.
That's the one thing I love about the Monster Hunter community, especially when it comes to, and I still feel icky about the word content creator, because I kind of have.
Yeah, me too.
I feel better about that than influencer. Good God, I hate the word influencer.
But maybe this sounds corny, but my feeling is that every human being is a content creator, and we're always pouring out content. It's just whether or not we're exposing it to other people or not.
Ah, yeah, so, I like that.
So it just feels weird to go, I'm a content creator. It's like, I'm giving you content to consume, but I like that none of us in general, it's not competitive. Like, it's like the more people doing even the same stuff or similar stuff, the better. Like, we're all like, heck yeah, we're just echo chamber, baby. We're all just trying to share the love, and we all love different aspects of the game. And I love your advice about, it doesn't have to be serious. Monster Hunter is not an incredibly serious game. It's a game. It's fun. Yeah. So like, don't be afraid to to just
try some wacky
loose
stuff for sure.
I
did some videos with the Yuna's idea was, hey, let's do a video of snoring monsters, and so like I made those videos Or like the one series I was hoping was going to take off, but it didn't. But I enjoyed doing it a lot. Was I made a few, I called them the feline GoPro series, where I put a prowler in the ground,
yes,
and then I cropped it to widescreen so you couldn't see the dust from the cat in the ground, and I tried to film like monsters and locations as if it was like a cameraman or whatever. It was really fun.
Then there you go, man. That series that means that series won already. If it was fun for you, there you go.
Exactly.
I was actually really scared.
It's the battle against time, though.
At one point during World, because when I started with World, like doing content, I was like, oh, I gotta make these guides for all of these weapons and whatnot. And at one point, I had just finished editing my Charge Blade guide, which I was those guides, the first ones that I did, they were very noobish, but I was just like, okay, finish rendering it, I'm uploading it, and I go check on YouTube, and Eric's had just like published his own Charge Blade guide, and I was like, oh no. Oh no, I'm gonna publish a Charge Blade guide same day as Eric's. Everybody's gonna take a dump on my guide, and it's like gonna be real nasty and whatnot. Actually, it was the complete opposite. A lot of people were like, no, I like the way that you explained it better and whatnot. No, some people preferred Eric's, other people preferred mine. And I was like, okay. I was like, oof. People didn't just take a complete dump on my video. I'm cool.
I'd say we in general are all fans of each other, which is great. And I love Twitch for the idea that it has opened up the door for us to communicate.
Yeah,
because I definitely agree with you. Like YouTube is you're in your own little.
It's so lonely.
box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is just why I don't think people realize. Well, some people do, but like you have lots of really positive feedback, which I love, and it's important. And people are like, why do you let that 1% of nasty comments bother you? Like it's, and Twitter's like the opposite. Like there's that 1% is so golden of a nugget that you're willing to put up with 99% of bullshit just to get it.
Yeah.
It's like, but you're in a box, so it's like every little voice and every comment is so much more impactful and powerful that
definitely
it can get a little exhausting. If so I still read comments, even though I know a lot of people's advice is not to. And there's the occasional one that irks me or whatever, but it's like whatever.
It's like, but I think that people underestimate how much some of those more vicious comments tend to stay with us. They really underestimate that, because like sometimes you look, and here's the thing, it's one thing, like if you can tell that someone's just trying to be mean or whatever, you're like, whatever. But if someone has like criticism and they choose to do it in like the worst way possible, like that's
it ruins your day.
Yeah, you're just like, God damn, that one comment's like, oh, bastard.
Yeah, but I'm always looking forward to the next wave of other people who are publishing videos and making clips and guides and stuff like that. It's just so much more fun than the old days where we have like the game facts, right? We'd all be on our forums.
All be on the forums, yeah. Yo, how
making
like, this guy's
our
taking 30
guides.
minutes to die. I need help. Yeah.
But it's nice now because we can get the personality of the person behind what they're doing and their unique approach. So I encourage you guys, get out there and create.
Yeah, definitely. And like, try not to, like, since we're on that topic, try not to worry about the numbers too much. Yeah. If you start worrying about the numbers, you will go down a rabbit hole that is hard to come out of, which happened to me for a minute. And like, yeah, like now I stream now, I keep my viewer count off. I've had my viewer count off for a year and a half now. I don't check. Because like, do I want to know? Probably not. Would it be like, sometimes it's useful. Sometimes like I unsubscribed, Gaijin, you don't stream often, but Rurikhan, like, you know how like after you stream, you get like the email from like Twitch, and it's just like, here's where you peaked, and like, have you ever gotten those emails?
I get like those from Stream Elements, I think,
and Stream Elements as well. Yeah, I used to get them from both. I unsubscribed from them because I'm like, man, I don't want to know. I don't want to know where I peaked. I don't want to know how many of this. Like, I'm just trying to have fun. That's all I want. So I turned all that off.
Yeah.
Those don't bother me as much, and even on YouTube, I've made the conscious decision that it's like, look, if if I wanted to be successful, I needed to either focus on World of Warcraft when I started making videos about World of Warcraft, or focus on Dark Souls when I was making videos about that, or do nothing but Monster Hunter right now. And it's like, it's not going to happen. I'm always going to be doing other things because I like too many games. There's too many games that I'm interested in. It's like Monster Hunter is the main thing for sure because I'm super passionate about it. It's my favorite game of all time, it's my favorite franchise at this point. But there's always going to be other things that I still want to play, which is why I don't mind, like, you know, getting to the end of a Monster Hunter game and being like, you know what, this is good. I'm kind of good for a bit until they come up with something else, and then I'll come back. Because I find that more satisfying than those games that just give you something like on a little drip feed of forever. And it's just like, oh, yeah, but you can get, like, this is something that World of Warcraft does now a lot. It's just like, oh, you can get 1% more power. If you spend like 5 more hours doing this thing that you hate, we'll give you 1% more power. And then 5 more hours will give you another 1% more power. It's like, no, it actually makes me happier if I'm able to achieve my objectives, and I'll be happier about coming back. Whereas if you're on a drip feed World of Warcraft, it's like when they lose me because I'm completely burned out, I'm just like, I'm never coming back. Screw this. I'm never coming back. I hate you guys. You guys suck.
I feel that. A quick Herny lore. I used to, if I had a good computer when I was in high school, I would 100% be a WoW YouTuber and streamer right now. WoW was my thing. WoW was like my thing. Like Monster Hunter at the same time, but I was like so into World of Warcraft.
What was your class?
I was like, I played Resto Druid. I played all specs of Death Knight, whatever was needed. And I played Fire Mage. Well, any spec of Mage, but I loved Fire. And I was super into PvP. At the height of it, I was rank 1 Paladin on my server in 3v3. And then top 10 with like the other guy. Yeah, I was like, I make the comparison. Oh, my friend has made the comparison. Have you guys seen that meme? Do you guys know Naruto?
Yeah.
You know Gaara, like the sand guy?
Yes.
And there's guy in Japan, and I'm like, no.
It's all good. Well,
I know
there's
what
like,
it is, but...
it's all good. There's like a picture of him in like OG Naruto where he's like all evil, and then there's like a picture from him in Shippuden, and he's like planting flowers, and like he's all peaceful and reformed. Like my friend sent me a meme, and it was like old competitive Henry and like you now. Like a friend of mine came to my stream, and he was like, "Who are you?" Like, because he knew me, and I joke like, oh, like I used to have a toxic Henry that was not a character in a skit. Like I used to be, when I was really competitive, it was not good. And that's low key why I kind of stopped speedrunning, because I would see remnants of that and I didn't want to be like that. And that's a big reason why I stopped speedrunning, because I don't like my competitive self. I feel like I could probably be competitive now. I'm in a much healthier place. But back then it was tied to a lot of other issues. Yeah, I was super competitive and like toxic in World of Warcraft, at least.
World of Warcraft brings out the best in people.
It really does. Like I would like kill someone, and then I would like slash like step or like slash spit on their body.
Oh God, you're one of those guys.
Yeah, I was a shitter. I can joke about it now because it's like so bad to like think. Yeah, I was horrible. I truly was. So what a lot of the people in the monster community see is a reformed Henry that was not always. I was not always like this. But
I never touched PC games for a long time. I didn't touch multiplayer games, and especially shooters, because I think I guess I don't know if it's trauma or what, but like I got bullied in school at times, and one of the common themes of like some of the kids that were like would punch me or bully me were like they were into PC games. Like Duke Nukem was like the big one back then.
Oh, so you like built that association.
And so there was an association in my head of like, okay, people who play shooter games or PC games are assholes and they're mean to me. And so like I immediately just had an allergy to it. I'm just like I'm not interested. And so my thing was I'd spend he's laughing. I don't know why. But I'm just
thinking to myself, that's still true today.
I just spent all my days, I discovered trading card games, and that was my thing because it was there's a community, deck building, like, you know, talking to people, trying to be the best we can be with our decks and letting our personality shine. So I was like really big into Magic and
Awesome.
and stuff like that. So like that was my thing. But like I don't think I think my first multiplayer game experience actually was Halo 3.
Ooh, I love Halo. That's awesome.
Because the 360 seemed interesting, and I had never touched an Xbox, and someone at work had convinced me to get it, so I got it, and I had so much fun. Oh my god!
Hell
like,
yeah, Halo's so good.
The players in Halo 3, like everyone was just having tons of fun. It was just, you know, and I made my a general rank online, like I did really good, and
nice.
It was really fun. But
hell yeah,
yeah, it's weird. I hear all these stories about World of Warcraft and stuff, and all I was thinking is like, man, I missed out on a lot of PC games because of some mean kids at school.
Yeah, you did. World of Warcraft back in the
glory
day,
days,
it was fun.
Yeah.
It was good stuff. Yeah. Nowadays,
does
not
that
so
date
much.
me now that I say Duke Nukem? Does that like really date how old I am?
I mean, I played Duke Nukem as well. Duke Nukem was fun.
I played it.
Yeah.
It's like still relevant. There's like Duke Nukem memes. So
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
yeah. They'll like voice clip him saying different things.
Hail to the king, baby.
Yeah, I'll send you one if I can find it. There's one of him saying like, "I love to play Monster Hunter, but I feel I can't kill the animal." Like I'll find it. It's really funny. So people might not know like when Duke Nukem is like from, because it's like a timeless name now. Oh yeah, WoW was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, that was God.
I mean,
man, that was
Duke Nukem,
late 1980s.
Duke Nukem used to be a 2D platformer. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, before it was a shooter, Gaijin, Duke Nukem was a 2D platformer, and then they came out with Duke Nukem 3D, which is the edgy one, where it's like, oh yeah, shake it, baby.
Yeah, they had like swimsuit
singles.
posters of some models and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like trying to be edgelord material.
It was funny. But anyways, I'm gonna rein us back into some Monster Hunter, and I'm gonna ask. We got the Sandy Plains back. We got the Flooded Forest back. If you could have one more classic map back, which one would it be, Henry?
That's a good question. I love the Sandy Plains so much. That's like one of my favorite maps of all time. And what I like about the Rise one is that it actually feels like the Sandy Plains plus the Rise stuff. Because Flooded Forest is cool. It's cool, but it doesn't like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't like feel like
it feels like a reinterpretation in a way. Right?
Yeah, it's like a reimagining of it.
not.
Yeah.
But the Sandy,
I
actually just busted out my 3DS yesterday, and I was showing Yuna both of those maps. And when we went to Sandy Plains, she's like, "It's the same map."
Yeah,
like,
I think it
cool.
was Sammy, Hot Sammy Sliz, who like posted the same rock structures. Like he went to like 3U and then Rise, and it's awesome. But I don't even know. You know what kind of map this is? I don't even know if I like this map, but I feel like a reimagining of this map would be good because it was clunky. And for Ultimate, the map where I don't even remember the name. Like it was like it looked like you were in the air, like you fought Chaotic Gormagala there, and like Zeno.
Oh, God, what was it called?
You know what I'm talking about? Like
Heavenly
like,
Plane or whatever.
Heavenly
What the hell was it
something.
called?
Yeah. It was kind of a
Heavenly
weird map.
Slopes or something. Yeah, it was the one that was right behind Cathar.
Yes. That was like a weird map. Like,
I
feel like
hang on.
yeah, I feel like if they tried that map again, it would be sick. Cause like it was
Heaven's
cool.
Mount. Heaven's Mount. There you
Heaven's Mount. Yeah. Like I don't even know if I liked that map, but I liked a lot of the fights that were there. And I got into speedrunning in for Ultimate, so I spent a lot of time in that map because that was like a good map to hunt Devil Joe. Well, he could be in multiple places, but like he was pretty good there because he could get good spawns. And it was a good map to farm Gormagala if you're going to do a speedrun, because if you spawned in the nest, he was right outside.
Zenogre was where I did.
Zenogre right there too. Yeah. So that would be a cool map. Yeah, to see again. But a map that I would love to see again is specifically the Tundra from 3rd Gen, because I think that's my favorite snow map of all time. I love me a good snow map, but none of them have like quite been as nice as the Tundra. Oh, but of course, Iceborne. Hoarfrost Reach is really good too. Yeah. I love me a good snow map.
I had a friend of mine. We used to record something. This is when I got him into 3U, and we used to record something we called the Mighty Monster Hunters. And it was his first time playing through Monster Hunter. He eventually played through the entirety of World with me. But like back then, he had no idea what he was doing. So we were doing the quest for Baleful Giginox and Jade Baroth. And we do that quest.
Remember that quest.
And you know, just as we're about to kill Jade Baroth, because we killed Baleful Giginox first, my friend dies, and like, I don't know, 10 seconds after he died, I just killed Jade Baroth, and he was lost. And he couldn't find his way. Like throughout the 60 seconds or whatever it was at the end of the quest, it's just him running through the map, trying to find his way back to, and he never got there.
Yeah. I can't even make fun of that, man. I get lost all the time. That's me. My chat knows. I have a horrible, like, we had World for how many years? I never learned Ancient Forest. Like, I got lost every time.
A lot of people apparently never learned it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay because the bugs never learned it either.
Yeah, exactly.
This is true.
Until we got the riders, I was lost there. I was like, I hope I spawn next to it.
There was so many times that like I actually know Ancient Forest really well, and there were a bunch of times where like the bugs would start going one way, and I'm like, no, you guys are wrong. I'm going this way.
Yeah, I learned to stop trusting the bugs very quickly there too. No, yeah, I got lost.
Man,
all
you
the
guys
time.
say Tundra, that just brought back a flood of memories. Oh my god.
Oh hell yeah, such a great
like,
map. So many good quests.
Like that was the map that got me to learn other weapons, because that's where the G2 double brachy took place. That was the map that I decided I wanted to try making tutorials, because I was watching Shepard's guides, and Shepard used to do he did some of his tutorials at the camp.
Oh yeah,
at the Tundra.
He would just be in the camp. That's right. Yeah.
And when I saw those, I felt inspired. I was like, oh, you know what? I like this idea of teaching stuff. Like, that's kind of interesting, you know? Like, and I was thinking about different orders. So, like, that I remember that map specifically as one of the inspiration points of when I decided I want to write guides. I didn't think about videos at that point. And shout out to Shepard for that. That was a great influence.
So OG right there.
Inspiration. And then, God, man, just the Tundra. Yeah, like
classic map. I remember the first time I saw. Do either of you remember like the Devil Joe quest, where like he could go break that like hidden room or whatever?
Yeah.
The first time I saw that, I think somebody was I had my like USB keyboard connected to my Wii. Be like, all right, let's do this. So fun. And someone was like, hey, like lead him over here. Like we can go over here. And I was like, what? And then like he put like something over there. And then, that was just like runs, tackles it, and then like this whole new room. I'd already played Try for like hours at this point. I'm like, what is this?
You never saw it, yeah.
Yeah, and then we kill it, and then in that room is like all the rare bones and like all the rare ores, like guaranteed in that room. And I was like,
yeah,
hell yeah, this is so cool.
Then it was really a narrow place. It was like the really good place for like the final showdown. It was like a little small little area that was risky as hell, and monsters would go there.
I love third gen.
That is
something else
awesome.
about the Tundra. I was remembering that my old man memory is starting to fade me.
But what was your classic map? I seem to remember that we talked about this once. I think it was the Misty Peaks that you said, right?
I was thinking more at the time, not what I would want to see, but more what I think we're going to see.
Oh.
And if there was going to be another map that I think they're going to recreate, I think it's going to be Misty Peaks. Because there's a lot of reasons why, right? Like, that is the map from Portable Third, this is like the spiritual sequel, basically.
Yes.
For Portable Third. It would make total sense if they want to bring back, monsters like, I could see them bringing Duramboros, or, like I imagine they might play around with bringing Amatsu back and like having any, like going to see Yugumo, would be neat. And I don't know, there's just something about that map in specific, I think.
It fits the game, for sure.
Yeah,
like the aesthetic of the game.
Want to.
It'd be really pretty.
I would like to see the deserted island, get the Sandy Plains treatment. because I
So you
spent
say
a
Tundra
lot.
or the Heavenlands Mount, and I'm just thinking about like that's a really good map that for
Yeah,
White
right,
Ops,
like,
jeez.
that'd be like if they tried that again in Rise, it would be cool. But I gotta tell you, the deserted island, like just when you walk into the first area, I get hit with so much nostalgia. It's wild. It's so good.
Up the cliff, kill some Kelby.
Yeah, just hit the Kelby. Yeah,
Just kill the Kelby.
hit the Banabra if there's there. Yeah, like I don't know what that just reinvigorates me. And like obviously it was in Generations, but when I imported Double Cross. No, oh yeah, I got Double Cross on the Switch because you could, as long as you use like a Japanese account. And it was so funny because I kind of took the TV that I tried on way back when, like ended up being mine. Like I took it because I think like my parents got like a TV and they're like, here, take this. So it was such a weird moment to see Deserted Island on that TV screen again, but now in Double Cross, like the same TV, and like the same crappy speakers that it has, like built-in speakers. And like, yeah, the first time I like hopped in and like Pro Controller in hand and saw it like instantly transported me back to like playing Tri with if you guys remember the Wii Pro Controller, like the black one, which I think, did that come with the collector's?
Yeah,
like a
for me
bundle?
it came with the white one. It had the white Pro controller, the
okay.
Wii Pro controller. Yeah, it also had the speaker that nobody used, the microphone that nobody ever used.
Oh, I got that too. Okay, I wonder if I got the same bundle. Yeah, I definitely got some kind of bundle for Tri.
Yeah.
And yeah, it instantly brought me back to that moment. That is a powerful map. Like just instant nostalgia for sure.
I never had the pleasure of playing Monster Hunter Tri. I've only played 3G and then 3G in the Wii U, which was great.
But yeah, I just love Deserted Island. It's one of my favorite maps. I also like the one where they introduced verticality in 4U. That one where you would fight the what was his name? Damn it, I forget his name. That squirrel-looking thing.
Ketchawacha.
Like I love.
Yeah, that's the map I thought Herny was gonna say. The ancient ruins with like the yellow, like high contrast, the vines.
Because you get the
very
thing
classic as well,
where he goes up to the top of the thing and then he comes down to the top and then he shakes himself around and whatnot. That was really crazy with both that monster and obviously Nursilla. Friggin' Nursilla, dude.
Yeah.
Like, sure, Rachna Kadaki's all right, but like she ain't no Nursilla. Like, forget about that.
Yeah, it's their own monster, and I love that. And watch how I do this. I'm gonna tie it back into underwater combat. I love that like aspect of like the vines, because like you get to see like Ketchawacha like in area 1, like just the flat thing, like whatever, just flies around, falls over. But Ketchawacha like in the vines, like he's in his element. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's something like so cool about like you're hunting a monster and like it dives into the water and you're like, where are you going? And you dive into the water too. Like there's something like true caveman about that.
Now you're on my turf, you know?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, oh, shit.
Because like, yeah, nowadays like it jumps in the water. Oh, we got to go to the next area. But nah, man, like a Tri in 3 Ultimate, like you're like, what? Like I'm not done with you. And you follow it, and like, yeah, you're out of your element now. Yeah, exactly. Like you're truly like stalking this thing down no matter what. And I don't know, I just loved it. And I love that for some monsters, there was a shift, right? Like Laggy on land in the deserted island, like you're smacking him around. He's not doing so hot. He hops in the ocean, and all of a sudden he's like 2 times faster. He's like destroying. It was awesome. Yeah. So if they tried it again, this is the last I'll talk about underwater combat. If they try it again, I feel like it would be so sick. And like they improved upon controls so much in World. Honestly, like before even Rise, because like your comment, Gaijin, is super valid. Like what else could they do next? But as soon as I saw like the controls for World, like we could aim the Kinsect up, like we could just like shoot things up and down and roll backwards in the movement. Like as soon as I saw that movement, I was like, they could try underwater again, and they could nail it if they wanted.
Yeah.
and that's the
I don't
end
know
of
if
my
there's
underwater.
I don't know if there's an English word for this feeling. I would love to know because I just don't know. But like, there's something about the deserted island where like you're going through the ocean, right, and you're going really deep, and you could feel it in your chest. Like when you're going really deep, you feel like you're like actually in that area, and it's almost like a feeling of claustrophobia, but in a good sense. And then that feeling when you get through that cave and then you burst up
And
into
you finally
that little,
come up in the little nest
the little
area.
place in the very back, right? Like there's just this.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's not a tension release, but there's something emotional about that feeling of busting through a small channel. Like it's almost like watching cave divers. Like have you ever seen those like videos of like going through like really small little things and actually it's like you're holding your breath and then you get through
you really
and
are.
Like
Especially if like Laggy was back there, like he limped back there, and like you're going there to finish the hunt or something like that.
Like I feel like I'm going into the depths of the map. It's so immersive. Yeah, it's so good. Good choices all around. So the right answer is they need to remake all these maps.
Yeah. Remake them all. Monster Hunter Universe.
Just please do not remake the old volcano. I hate that stupid map.
It did kind of suck.
I mean, like if you die at the top, it took you over 60 seconds. It was like 90 seconds to run all the way back up to the top. It was just like, oh, come on. Like
I get lost in this volcano too.
And then you had like your paintball run out, and you'd be running around for 6 minutes, not finding the monster, and realizing you're probably just like
just wave at the balloon man. Balloon man, tell me where the monster.
If they were
you get to do that once. You get it once.
That's a Psycho Serum was a lifesaver for me because I have this bad habit of never paintballing ever in the old games. So if I ever just because I would kind of just follow the flow, like all right, like where is it running to, digging to, flying to even. Yeah. But once, depending on the map, the digging or the flying sometimes wasn't always accurate. So whenever I ran into the next area and it wasn't there, I'm just like, oh shit, here we go again. I just started running everywhere.
You're just running all over the place, and then you get there and he has already moved to someplace else.
Yeah, it's just leaving. Yeah. So that's on me. I always love like not paintball.
That's why I like Savage Devil Joe in the desert areas, because you don't even need you could just close your eyes. When you enter a new area, you get okay, he's here. You know immediately.
For sure.
In GU, my loadout would always have 3 Psycho Serums specifically because of that. Because it's like, no, we're not wasting any time looking for monsters. He's right there. Let's go.
Yeah. Psycho Serum's so clutch. I just because you mentioned him, I was actually just today on stream I was talking about it, so it kind of gave me a better perspective. But I was upset at first, not upset, but I was hoping to see Devil Joe in Rise because I really wanted to see like their take on it. But then I was talking to chat and we realized that in Base World we got Joe, and then in Iceborne we got Rajang. So this time we got Rajang from the get-go. So we'll probably get Joe in Rise Ultimate or Rise G, what have you. Because I'd love to see their take on Joe.
I want to see Savage come back and kick ass because he was just way too easy in Iceborne.
He was pretty easy, yeah.
He wasn't like getting up on his hind legs and spewing stuff all over and getting all into it. There was none of that. So like, I want to feel like I'm running for my life, that we could have triple carts at any moment, I like that.
I definitely remember comparing like Savage and Iceborne versus Savage and GU. It's like, nah, dude, nah, forget about it. GU Savage Joe would beat the crap out of Iceborne Savage Joe.
Yeah, he would keep locking him into the counter or the clagger animation.
Yeah,
because that was the problem with Joe, is that you could loop the two, so you would flinch him out of his counter. And then if you did enough damage, he would be 2 hits away from the clagger. Then you would clutch claw, let go, keep hitting him. He'd probably counter out of and then that's it. And then he would die in like 3 minutes. Once we had like Safi gear. But the fight was fun when he got to fight.
I'll plant an idea that I was talking to Yuna about last night that might excite you guys. But they talked about the reason why Chameleos wasn't in World and Iceborne was because of the dealing with the translucency was very hard for the engine.
Oh, right.
But the Resident, not the Resident Evil, because was it actually the RE is, what does it stand for? It's like something really stupid.
It should stand for
Oh, yeah.
Resident
For-
Evil.
I used
No,
to
it's
think
not
it was
Resident
Resident
Evil.
Evil.
It's like Reach for the what is it called? The actual abbreviation is not Resident Evil Engine.
It's not.
Did you know
Yeah,
this?
I thought
like
it was
something
Resident
really
Evil
weird.
as well.
Yeah.
But the RE engine could do it. So like Chameleos, we got the translucency back, and I'm like, come on. The director's
a lot
one
of
of his
doors.
favorite monsters is Nargacuga. You know we're gonna get Lucent Nargacuga back.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's gonna happen. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, or like Apex, and it's like Lucent and like Silverwind combined or something crazy like that.
Oh.
Like invisible
Not
wind sights coming out
Silverwind.
of.
Screw that noise. I don't want to deal
Don't
with
like it.
Silverwinds.
Honestly, that's valid. Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
I would prefer Lucent, honestly, if we had to pick one for sure. Or even what's his name? Malfestio. Love me a good owl monster.
No.
Oh yeah.
No.
No.
Yeah, I know. I
No.
know you don't like that monster. I love that monster.
I hate, dude, anything that messes with my controls, I don't want it. Like, it literally flips your controls around. And then when you're getting used to playing in reverse, then it's like,
flip,
oh yeah, the
yeah.
debuff is over. And you're just like, stop. You keep
Yeah.
changing it back and forth. It's so bad.
Why are you guard dashing at the wall?
Yeah, just running away instead. I guess a good follow-up question is I guess Rise is only like 3 months old, so it's funny to talk about Monster Hunter 6, but in Rise Ultimate, I guess, what is a monster that you would like to see come back? It
Kurupeku.
could be from like any Kurapeka.
Kurupeku. I
a
mean, we already
classic.
have Volstrax, we already have Basil Goose. There's very few things that I want that I don't have. So it's like,
Honestly,
I just really like Kurupeku.
that's true. Kurapeka definitely for me as well, for like a small monster.
Yeah.
For like just like a tier 1, tier 2.
Yeah.
I would love to. Well, actually, Gaijin. What about you?
I mean, I guess I'll cheat and say 2, just because I can cheat.
Mhm.
Ha, ha, ha. First thing that comes to mind is Molten Tigrex. I love that monster. We need a good challenging blast monster, something to put Magnum Aloe on edge, and that
Very
was a
true.
good fight.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one is, I mean, for me, the obvious choice, I just love the parallels with the silk and climbing. I want to see Atal'Ka come back. I know that they generally don't bring back the end game, online boss monster. It's usually unique to that game,
Yeah.
but I'd love to see them do it.
Atal'Ka
Same
would
here,
be
man.
awesome as well. And I almost forgot. I mean, obviously, I want the Rand. I still want the Rand. Just because we didn't get it in Rise, I still wanted for Rise Ultimate.
Oh, for sure. Like I stopped
how
myself
about you,
short
Herny?
because. Oh yeah, I was gonna say like I stopped myself short before because I'm such a big fan of big monsters. Like I would if we got Underwater Combat back, I would love to see Sideus or Cadius. Because big nostalgia points there. But Mantis, I would love to see Mantis. I think Mantis is like such a good fight because there is the big portion, but there is also the personal small fight as well.
Yeah, it's the original Silkbind attack user.
Exactly, and it's a bug, and I like when bugs like get representation. I always say like this isn't Dragon Hunter, it's Monster Hunter. So I love whenever the final anything isn't just another dragon. Like I love me a good dragon, but I love when we got like weird shit, and that's why I also love Nakarkos, which I like never get anyone to agree with me, but it's a giant
I like the fight a lot.
cephalopod. Yeah, I love Nakarkos.
As
It's
a
not like
gun
the
lance user, I like Nakarkos too.
Nice. Yeah.
Hit zones, what?
Yeah, I just think it's a freaking giant cephalopod that like eats wyverns. He did it first before Nergi. Well, I guess Nergi is Elder Dragons, but yeah, I would love to see that again. Imagine Nakarkos underwater. Like what nightmarish fight that would be.
That'd be neat. That'd
be sick.
cool.
Because he would kind of be in his element at that point because he's kind of like
Yeah.
a
He'd be like
octopus thing.
doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Nakarkos fan, but if I had to pick one, I would love to see Mantis in Rise Ultimate.
Atal'Ka, like the first time I did Atal'Ka, I was so surprised when he pulls out the friggin' the Nestus. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What?
It was so random, but it's so cool.
And his
yeah.
And his animation is just so well done, like the way that when he sends the spinning wheel thing, and you actually see the spinning wheel tumble and animate properly.
Yeah.
Like, it's friggin' fantastic.
Definitely. Yeah, and like she's like moving, I don't know, pincers, like she's like actually doing the motion, like you kind of feel the weight to the wheel, and then when she drags it back, it does a little bit of damage, just like chip damage, which has killed me in the past because I had like 10 health. No, yeah, so I think that's definitely one of my favorite final question mark or secret final bosses, whatever that category is. But yeah, I tend to be like a fan of all of them, except for maybe like, nah, I mean, I even like Lao. Like Lao gets nostalgia points mainly because his fight's not the most exciting, but I even like Lao.
Dude,
I'm a big fan of all of them.
When I saw that Chaos Slayer had done a video of him just shelling Lao to death, and I was just like, there's something wrong with you, dude. Like, what the hell?
I tried that too.
Because like shelling in GU is so atrocious, and he's just like, yes, I will shell this monster to death. And I was like, okay.
Wait, what style did he use?
What's
Did he use Valor?
I think he used Valor. Yeah, he was mostly playing Valor for the shelling.
Oh, nice.
So,
yeah. I think I tried that too. I made the Nakarkos gun lance, which has like
it's
infinite
got
blue. Yeah.
And
then you just go under.
It's a level 5.
Yes.
Just spamming.
You just keep shooting. Yeah. I tried that too.
I have good memories of that fight when I was making my video for how to beat him without using any weapon.
Oh, nice.
And I was, because it was just hard to find rooms for it, or people would like run away, because I don't know, like if the listeners here didn't play before Monster Hunter World, the urgent quest system was horrible, right? Like you'd get your urgent quest, and then if you only the host it counted for, so you would have to do it one for everybody.
Yeah.
So trying to find an online room of people doing the monster, because it was like a 30-minute excursion, and then say, okay, we're all gonna do it. That's like 2 hours of time. Yeah. Someone would get theirs done, and then they'd pull out.
Then dip.
And it's like and it's just it's only scaled for 4 people. So you didn't have, or not scale for 4. It only had 1 difficulty level. So like I really wanted to find a way to kill it solo without using your weapon. So it was something that people could replicate.
Yeah.
And so I spent so much time. Oh my god. I think I had something like 450 gigabytes of video data of all the runs I was doing. And the thing that killed me the most was I kept missing the damn jump onto his back. And then trying to calculate like how many ballista is too many, and then you're wasting it because it should just go to phase 2. Yes. So that was kind of fun. And I feel bad every time I get the occasional comment years later, like I tried, it doesn't work, and it kills me because I don't know what they're doing wrong. But I do also get those comments every now and then. They're like, I was able to do it. Thank you so much. I'm like,
nice. That's awesome.
Help somebody.
Hell yeah. Yeah, like even something like Lao, I don't know. It's just like when it finally goes down, there's something in you that's just like, yes, did it. Even though this guy was just walking, I took him down.
He was trying to leave. He was trying to leave. It's all he wanted to do.
It's the same thing as Zora Magdaros. He's just going. He's just trying to walk, and we're hitting him.
Man, that proof of a hero kicks in, and it's over. You are pumped with something primal there. I think my most intense, and Gaijin, you were there for it in chat. My most like intense proof of a hero ever was my first Fatalis clear in Iceborne. Like that, I was like sweating. I was sweating so much. Like I had like a headache.
I'll carry that. That hunt is I'm gonna carry that for the rest of my life. That was a really,
it's so good.
Yeah, really so amazing moment when you clear for the first time, and that proof of a hero is the #1 reason we part.
Like,
because man, do you feel so empowered when you hear that?
You
thing,
just run in.
And it's a trick. The game's like, okay, now I'm gonna pump it up, but you're gonna make so many mistakes because you're gonna think you're a god.
Do you know?
Yeah.
You know you're.
Do you know what I did for that fight for my first clear? I had the most ridiculous over-planned strategy you could possibly imagine. Like I would start the fight with like heavy artillery set on and a greatsword, run down there, set up the whole cannons thing with 2 bombs. Like, I had the 2 bombs so that when he charges at the cannons, the bombs blow up in his face. The cannons are going to knock him down. He gets knocked down. I go down there with the greatsword, deal as much damage as I can. I don't even heal myself with the greatsword because part of the plan is that I also have Fortify. So I'm going to just hit him with the greatsword until he kills me. And then he kills me. I go back. And what do? I needed to get another proc of Fortify. So I equipped, remember the clutch cannon? With the heavy bowgun? I was like, okay, the clutch cannon, let's go. Deal as much damage as possible. Again, not healing at all so that he'll kill me, but with me dealing as much damage as possible. And then after that, I go back and I swap the sword and shield, and then I actually start fighting properly.
Hell yeah, man. It was so cool, like, that night. Just, I refused to go to sleep. And it was like fate, because I was never home for updates. On Thursdays, I would always work late. So if I did get home, I was like mad tired. But I didn't have to work at all that Thursday. So I was home and I was just waiting on World for Fatalis to drop. And I was just like, I don't want to go to bed without this win. So I streamed. I had work the next day, mind you. I finished my stream at like 4 a.m. or something. It took me 8 hours. Or I guess 7, because I was just chilling on stream for the like hour until the update came on. But it took me many hours, and I just kept trying, and I refused. And that's
actually
like,
really good. 7-8 hours to clear that the first time. That's actually a really good time.
I think I spent like 6 hours, and then I went to bed because unfortunately those updates released at like 1 a.m. for me. So it's like 7 a.m. and I was just like, I wasn't even playing right anymore. I was like, derp.
I was getting to that point. Like the hunt, and it's so funny because it's like that meme with the guy digging, but like he turns around and the diamonds are right there. Like the hunt before my clear, I was so discouraged because I was doing so well, and then he just never came to the Dragonator. He just stood there like fireballing. To the point where it like looked like busted AI, and I was like, what the heck? So I timed out, and I was like tilted for the first time on stream in Monster Hunter, because I don't really tilt in Monster Hunter. But then I was like, let me try one more time. And then in that last one, I had no strategy. Like the next day I learned about the cannons. I didn't use, you know the gun? I didn't know you could move. I didn't know you could move in it. So I was like, why would I get in that? This stationary gun, I'm gonna die. You could move. I didn't know about that. Like, no, it was just me and my insect glaive and my stubbornness. And I did it after some sweat and tears, maybe blood, I don't know. But that's a hunt that sticks with you for sure.
The fun thing is like, for my first clear of him, the most fun thing was that at the end, if you were watching like the final hits on the monster, you could tell like, wow, he's just not even trying anymore. I was like, just die.
Yeah.
I think I killed him with like a couple of seconds to spare. I was like, just die. Just leave me alone. Just die.
I think that's if I don't know for sure, but if you were to go to anyone who streamed it, and you go to like the final moments of their first clear, that's all they're saying. That's what I was saying in mine. I'm just like, please, the last thing I say before I get the kill is just, please die. It's such a desperate voice. I'm like so done. And then I finally get it, and then I just drop my controller. I just like threw it, like, and I just put my hands on my head. Yeah. But yeah, that's something that Monster Hunter can do for sure.
Magical.
And on that moment, I'm afraid I'm going to have to call it. Like, because if I don't stop it, we're going to keep talking for like 5 hours. Sure. And it's 3 a.m. for me. Like, I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
For sure. Oh, damn. You started at 12? Damn. Thank you so much for sticking it out. No, that's a perfect note. Fatalis was like the closing monster lore-wise of the game and like of World, which was such an impactful game to the series. But perfect note to end on there. It
sets the bar so high for final big encounters that I can't wait to see what the team does next.
Definitely. For sure.
It's going to be awesome, whatever they end up doing. And do remember, guys, we all talk about stuff like the endgame and whatnot, and even myself. Sometimes it may seem confrontational, but ultimately all I want is for people to have a good time. And, you know, if you are not having a good time, I wish you were, is all I'm saying. But as per usual, you'll find all of the links to like Gaijin stuff and Herny stuff in the description of this video. Herny, is there anything that you would like to shout out for anyone that actually watches this for 3 hours?
This camera, or this camera. Tell the people
I love
what you got going on.
First and foremost, I'm going to apologize because every time I'm invited to a podcast, it's 3 hours.
No, but
every time.
It's a good thing. I just wish that I could start recording early because then I wouldn't stop it. But like 3 a.m, I got to sleep.
Sure.
Sorry, it's me in Japan. Yeah. I know I'm screwing it all up.
It's all good. It just means I'm in good company. We were just talking. We were just chatting it up, and I always appreciate that. It was just flowing well. But no, thank you guys so much for having me. I've been trying to catch this podcast like whenever I can. People have been asking me like, "Are you the next Mr. Guest?" I'm like, guys, leave them alone. Like they'll hit me up when the time comes and get our timing
spoiled
scheduled.
it on the stream. You weren't supposed to spoil it. I was looking at the stream earlier and I was like, God damn it, he spoiled it.
Well,
it's okay. I mean, your swirl effect doesn't work. People are figuring it out immediately.
But that's the fun part. That's the like I put the swirl on and people actually go around trying to unswirl it in Photoshop. That's the fun.
That's awesome. Well, I was like, I gotta go because I'm being. What did I say the first time? I was like, I'm being interviewed, and then they're like, well, like a job, and I'm like, no, it's a podcast. And then as soon as I said podcast, we're like, yeah, it was over. But hopefully, people like they're not sure. But yeah, like, thank you guys so much for having me. Both of you are such cool and like big members of the community. And I'm glad you guys invited me. I'm glad that people think like people tell me all the time, they're like, hey man, like you're like a pillar of the community. And I'm like, you think so? Like, I don't even think of myself that way. I'm just a guy who loves this game and probably plays it too much. But I'm sure that's like all of us
that is all
here.
Of us.
Yeah.
No, I'm really happy you were able to come on. I mean, people can't see it because I'm not on camera for the podcast. But I fanboy in the inside when I get people like you and I can talk to you guys because I love you guys stuff. So it's I love how we can just inspire each other. It's fun.
For sure. I'm hoping my last thing is like I hope when the world is safer we can like hope whatever Capcom throws next, because like the Festa was so cool. Yeah. And just getting to meet other people in person just made me want more in-person meetups. Yeah, because it's so fun. It's so fun. So I hope whatever next Capcom thing or any Capcom related, it doesn't have to be Moss Center, that we're all at, we'll definitely get like some Korean barbecue as the Capcom tradition goes, nice. and hang out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for having me, and everyone who watched to this point, thank you very much.
Okay, Rurikhan, go get your butt in bed and get some sleep.
I will do that. Thank you all very much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button. If you did not enjoy it, hit the dislike button. Feedback is important. Usually enjoy the content, subscribe, bell notification, all of that usual stuff. Make sure to check out Henry and Gaijin in the description below. We'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe.
Later.
And happy hunting.